Is it going to be patience? Is it going to be aggression? Is it going to be good strategy? Is it going to be not getting into somebody else's problem? And who will go through to the round of 8? It's the Bank of America ROVAL 400. Great start, Tyler Reddick. Shane Van Gisbergen got a little squirrely, and it's Reddick who leads the field into turn 1. Such a tricky section through here. It is a concrete canyon, and it's blind. You got to get through there safely, which everybody does, except Kyle Busch.
Yeah, very big contact on the right side of the 8 car. He got shoved into that concrete barrier. He's got to pull away, but you see the damage to the right front. The corner nut pointed the right way, a broken toe link, so that's going to be major repairs, and any chance of victory gone for the 8.
This 8 team, Kyle Busch, they've had enough of this year. You know, they just ready for it to end. Nothing has gone right.
Yeah, crew chief change. Andy Street is taking over crew chiefing this car. The crew chief that Kyle has raced with is moving on next year, so they made the shift, and they didn't get but one set of corners to get it work together. The rest of the field, though, as you pointed out, Diff, clean through the entire infield. Now everybody's up on the banking. The first look at this high-speed backstretch chicane, 155 miles an hour on corner entry.
You've got to think there's a sense of relief for Tyler Reddick to have got to that first turn first, cleanly through. Ty Gibbs is fighting hard with Kyle Larson. Chris Buescher, who qualified really well, he's nicely placed. There's the 17, fifth third bank forward. We go on boards with thanks to Monster. Here's the replay. Look, bottom top box. Kyle Busch.
Yeah, kind of late. Couldn't tell if there was contact before you see that lock up. Right here, let's take a look. Top of your screen. Oh, it looks like he just gets loose and overcorrects to the right. Once again, I couldn't tell if there was contact that got him loose. Either way, result the same, hard into the wall.
Yeah, big contact. This is the 4th straight ROVAL that Reddick has led. Talked early before the race started. He has 3 road course wins. He's really good at this, Steve.
And now you mentioned the kind of settling in. I think it's really hard that first corner while you're trying to get settled in, but now that they're single file, they can kind of mind their P's and Q's, decide how hard you want to go unless you're being pushed from behind, and that's what's happening right here as you see the 17 kind of pushing and shoving, trying to get to the left of the 54. Up ahead, we have teammates Briscoe and Bell side by side.
Parker Kligerman talked about that corner. They get all the way down to 30 miles per hour. It is chaos down there.
And we spoke earlier about the 19 and that Bass Pro Shops Toyota from Joe Gibbs Racing of Chase Briscoe. He has had a remarkable playoffs. He is the only driver left in the playoffs with a top 10 in every single race, but still yet dances on this delicate line of doing enough today to go through the next phase. And Kyle Busch is headed back to the garage.
Look at these cars, hit these blue turtles. Trying to stay off of them. They're so high. Cars launch up into the air. Can actually damage the suspension if you hit them too much. This downhill. That is so downhill into turn 3. We see all the black marks in turn 3. That's because it's downhill. It's hard to get the car to stop. See a lot of tire lockup in that part of the racetrack.
You already start to see that Goodyear tire kind of balling up and being thrown off. We talk about tire fall off and all of the things go along with that, but I think what sometimes gets overlooked is SVG, a big dive to the inside. The 45 gives him the space. I think he knows the 88's faster, but he'll have a good exit. What I was getting ready to say about all that debris, it becomes a very one-groove racetrack through the infield. To get offline, you pick up all that debris, your tires can pick up a big shake. We'll have to keep an eye on that as we go.
Toyota on board. Tyler Reddick looking back at Shane Van Gisbergen.
That was an interesting battle into turn 7, Jeff. I think the 45, the fact that he just gave the 88 the bottom, allowed the 45 to roll the top and keep momentum on corner exit.
What makes it more interesting, you can think about last year's race, Tyler Reddick was one of the guys that was really aggressive in that part of the racetrack, making passes. Let's go back in the pack. A lot of action here. Josh Berry.
Josh Berry, Cody Ware, and it was John Hunter Nemechek, the 42 behind.
Now they missed the corner, so they're going to come to a complete stop, serve their penalty, and then launch again.
This was an extraordinary race a year ago for Tyler Reddick. He won the opening stage and then got into trouble. Remember where he got, like, the rear wheels were like airborne? It was like a motocross bike endo, and he ran into Denny Hamlin at turn 7. The car was damaged. The crew just continually worked on it. He did so many trips down pit lane and came back to go through to the next phase. It was incredible. He doesn't want to go through that today, Jeff. He wants to stay out in front.
Let's see if SVG does the same thing. Headed here to turn 7. See different lines. This time he stays way out for a long time. He's going to try to get underneath Reddick.
What that allows him to do is stay a little closer on exit. We'll see if he can get a little bit of a draft here. I don't know if he's close enough. Reddick doing a really nice job.
They have driven away from everybody else. 2 seconds of Hitter Larson.
Oh, look at the run that Van Gisbergen's got. Much cleaner through that back straight chicane. And SVG is on the high side.
And what looks like the outside now will instantly become the inside on the front stretch chicane. I think he is in the correct position. I think the 45 is going to have to concede here in the braking zone.
That WeatherTech Chevrolet sneaks its way through to the lead. And Van Gisbergen is out in front where everybody expected him to be.
It's important now for Tyler just to kind of settle in here. Made a mistake in the rear chicane. It's okay. Let's settle in here. Let's just keep him in sight. Watch Tyler Reddick. He just doesn't line it up right. Watch this curb. Boom, he hits that curb, and now the car is aimed in the wrong direction. Look at the difference with SVG. His car hit the curb, but it was pointed correctly. Watch right here. It's a great shot of it. Watch how they're aimed. See how he had to slow down? The 88 turned his car and then hit the curb. The 45 hit the curb before the car was turned. See here? 88's pointed the right direction. Now he has forward momentum. Game over.
You mentioned turtles, the blue turtles before. That kind of sounds cute. But Steve, when we did the track tour with DJ yesterday and we got out and stopped and we went over there, they're anything but cute. They are big and brutal.
Yeah, there's a few that have been painted by some local school children in the face of a turtle, but I can tell you they are mean to a race car. And it's not the red and white area. The red and white area is a very acceptable amount of curbing, but something has to define the course, and that's what that blue, very large metal kind of curb looks like. And as you mentioned, you know, it can be very difficult to the racetrack. I like what they've done here on the front stretch. You're going to see on the right-hand side a tire barrier. So right there's the turtle, and right there's the tire barrier. What I love about the tire barrier is it really defines the corner. So there's no real shortcutting this track right here. I'm a big fan of racing within the limits of the track. Now, I'm not a big fan of having to enforce track limits by cameras. That's very difficult and it's hard to do. I like when it's just natural for the drivers to want to stay in bounds.
9th straight road course race that this man here, Shane Van Gisbergen of Trackhouse Racing, has led. There's the Kiwi. He's easy going, but he's mean behind the wheel of a race car. NASCAR Cup Series playoffs continue here on USA from Charlotte, the Bank of America ROVAL 400, and there is racing all up and down the field. And a quick reminder for all NASCAR fans, you can scan the QR code or visit NASCAR.com/Ford Playoffs promo to enter your chance to win a 2025 Ford Bronco Heritage Edition or an epic Bronco off-rodeo experience. Don't wait, enter now, and good luck. Ty Gibbs trying to fend off Chris Buescher. That's for 4th place, and this has been going on for several laps now. Monster on board. Ty Gibbs, have a listen.
That was good. Center to the second segment of the chicane here at the Keys.
You see that the 5 has got by the 45 just right there at the backstretch chicane. Now the 45 is under attack for Gibbs. Buescher's going to want to dive in there as well, I think, if he has a spot. Nope, Gibbs kind of goes through single file. A little bit of patience out of the 54. Parker, what are you hearing on the 5?
Well, we're just 9 laps into this first stage here, Steve. We know the talk of the town has been the high tire wear, and one of the things this 5 team has been telling Kyle Larson is at his exits out of some of the chicanes, how he's comparing to the 88 car and how straight that car is, because how do you conserve your tires? Well, you simply don't want to slide them. And so what Kyle Larson's been focusing on is straight exits, and it seems to be working here as we go later in this run. He's taking care of those rear tires. Marty.
Parker, this is what Tyler Reddick in the 45 camp was worried about, kind of losing speed the longer they ran. On lap 2, Billy Scott reminded him on the radio, hey, take care of your tires, especially your rear tires. Listen to this radio.
Be cautious of wide open throttle between 5 and 6, much like, between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
So, Steve, would you be reminding your driver on the second lap of the race, hey, make sure you're taking care of your tires? That's how critical it is today.
Second lap, second corner, every lap, I would be reminding my drivers. The strategy today is very simple. You are running a 1985 race at Darlington. Every time you slide a tire, the good is gone. It doesn't come back. I love it. It's very throwback. It's very old school. We've seen this sometimes like at Sonoma, Jeff, but I don't remember this at other road courses, as now we see, I believe that Cindric, who has missed the backstretch chicane, comes to a stop. And to try to avoid things like that. And that's going to become easier as the tires wear. It's not just lap time. It's when you are dancing on the edge of grip, it's very easy to slide over it and make a mistake.
When you have tires that start wearing out on a road course, it hurts braking force. The car does not slow down. It doesn't corner. It doesn't leave under acceleration. It does everything worse. Watch this move Christopher Bell tried to make on his teammate. Getting into this front stretch chicane. Watch this. He tries to outbrake him, but look at the speed he's carrying. He's going so fast he can't make the corner. And then the 6 team of Allmendinger saw it, and he took advantage of it. He ends up taking the spot. The 19 of Briscoe loses 2 on the front straightaway.
The Dinger said, well, you guys are fighting it out. I'll just breeze on through on the inside. This is Tyler Reddick with a significant lockup. That's what allowed.
That's the second time we've seen Reddick miss the entry into that rear stretch chicane. And then the 2 lost some track position. We just saw him have trouble, and then matters got worse.
Oh, boy. Tagged by Justin Haley.
It doesn't take much.
Steve, that's a great point. We see contact all the time, and cars don't necessarily spin, but with these tires falling off over 3 seconds in 9 laps, any nudge at all, your car does not have the grip to keep from spinning out.
This was not in the plan for Austin Cindric. He's the 12th and final driver in the playoff standings. He needed a brilliant day, a brilliant weekend, and he is up against it. We got takers on pit road.
Yeah, this tire fall off is so bad. I heard some whispers of even pitting. Remember, they can run 35 laps on fuel, so this isn't a fuel decision. This is just simply a math equation, Parker, that says you can run faster on new tires even with a pit stop.
Right, it's just simply the start of this, when this window sort of opens, when you talk to most teams, was going on to pit road after lap 10 or about lap 10 through lap 15. If you want to split these stages, it's going to be 4 Goodyear tires for Daniel Suarez and have the extra grip of those tires.
So one thing interesting about the ROVAL is just the way the pit road cuts off the front stretch chicane and turn 1. You just don't lose a lot of time. You lose about 25 seconds to come change 4 tires. So if your tires can go 4 or 5 seconds faster, you can easily make up more time. Now we see the first playoff car hit pit road, the 2 of Cindric, Marty.
He went from 17th to 36th for Austin Cindric after that backstretch chicane, and another problem for Cindric. There you see it again. That's why he kind of fell further back through the field. They're putting on scuffs here, Steve, not sticker tires for Austin Cindric. A little bit fresher tires, but not as good as sticker tires.
Well, they only have basically 6 sets of stickers in their qualifiers in their pits. So if you know you're going to use every tire available, you might as well go ahead and just burn your qualifiers up, because here's Cindric back on the racetrack all by himself. He's about 25, 30 seconds in front of the leaders, about 30 seconds behind anybody else he's racing. He's kind of a little bit of no man's land. Pit road going to be very busy here. Here you go. A whole wave coming to pit road. You see Blaney, you're on board with Briscoe, who'll turn left, stop in service of his crew, Kim.
Yeah, Briscoe just complaining super loose on the big track, so just that kind of balance of getting it right in the infield portion with the oval portion is giving him a little trouble. As we look at Chase Elliott, bottom right, finishing up that pit stop. He's one of the drivers I haven't heard major complaints. He said it's respectable right now, Marty.
Tim, when I talked to Jonathan Hassler, the crew chief for Ryan Blaney this morning, he said, one thing I can tell you, I'm glad we have advanced. We don't have to worry about the chaos today. Blaney said, actually, I feel like we're pretty good through the slow parts of the corner, kind of hung around the back half of the top 10, and a 3-way drag race there off pit road, Lee, as they head back out on the track.
Ryan Blaney, Chase Briscoe, Chase Elliott. The drivers and crew chiefs will tell you they set the cars up more for the infield than the oval. The oval's not a big deal, but Kim brought up that point from the Briscoe said about getting loose in the oval part. Watch Kyle Larson earlier through NASCAR turn 4. The tail end of these cars are getting very loose, and it is a lot in the driver's hands. Up over the blind crest, through turn 6. Here they're coming up to turn 7. Toyota on board. Chase Briscoe shows you just how tight this is. Look to the left, back up onto the big track. Van Gisbergen has not even thought about coming to pit road just yet. He boasts a 2.6 second lead. Make that a little bit more now over Kyle Larson. Kim standing by.
Yeah, you see that Busch Light onboard from Ross Chastain. Early in the run, tight rolling all the corners compared to yesterday. Then the areas in turn 5 and 6, he was slipping the rears. At the end of this run, Parker, he said all 4 tires feel like balloons, just way overinflated.
And Chris Ramel had said something I hadn't heard many drivers saying, that he was actually tight inside that race car trying to get it to turn. They let him know late on the run that he was doing well in having pace and saving his rear tires. Also his teammate Denny Hamlin here on pit road right now. It's admittedly not the best on road courses, but maybe this chaos is an opportunity, Marty.
As he promised, Joey Logano towards the front end of pit road took it very easy early in that run. Lost a couple spots, was able to gain some track position. Terrific look from the Hunt Brothers onboard pizza camera. Joey Logano heading back out on the track like everybody else, just saying absolutely no grip out here at the ROVAL.
13 laps left to go in this opening stage.
I think what's interesting right now, Steve, is how hard do you run these tires? Typically, you put new tires on, you just go run as fast as you can. Just don't worry about tire wear. But today, are you better off saving a little bit, not going out and laying a real fast lap time down, so over the course of the run, the average speed is better.
Well, as you see on the bottom left, a penalty for John Hunter Nemechek, too fast entering pit road. The challenge for all these cars is Noah Gragson, the 4 that just passed, they have a huge tire advantage, but Noah's yet to pit, so you have to use some tire to kind of get by those guys. And I'll be honest, the advantage SVG has is he had such a great race car. I don't see why he needs to pit. The guys on new tires are barely running faster than the leader. So right now, I think SVG could just kind of stay out here in a Sunday cruise and wait till the stage ends.
There's 12 drivers yet to come to pit road, and the race being led by more than 4.5 seconds by Shane Van Gisbergen over Kyle Larson, then Tyler Reddick, the pole sitter, is some 8 seconds adrift now of the race leader, and Buescher and Armendinger.
Yes, Suarez, he just ran an 89 flat. That is only 1.3 seconds faster than SVG, Parker.
As we look at Kyle Larson there exiting out of turn 7, something interesting down in his pit. His pit crew was on the wall with sticker tires, which we've seen a lot of these teams put on. But one option you have is your qualifying scuff set, basically. I saw them take the stickers off the wall and they put up this the tires from qualifying, this scuff set here, possibly to utilize these at the end of this stage.
I like that plan, Parker. I think just using them up early is the right way. We're hearing the 88 might come to pit road this time. Probably just afraid he's losing too much time. Jeff, you mentioned the lap time, right? It was about a second faster. So the 88 will come off the banking onto pit road. The 5 as well, I'm sure will chase him off in the distance. There he is, the 5 of Larson. If you're the 88 and you have such a speed advantage, this is when you're basically chewing your nails. You do not want to make a mistake and give up track position with a penalty. Parker.
And it's been really interesting listening to Kyle Larson's radio as Cliff Daniels has been giving him constant updates on how he compares to SVG and what SVG was even complaining about in terms of his rear tires, and telling him he's been doing a good job in keeping the rear tires on this car, Marty.
Just like Larson, SVG coming down pit road on the same lap, also going to go with scuff tires as well. A little bit longer on the left rear there. They debated on running this all the way until about lap 23, but SVG just said there's absolutely no rear grip left in the 88, so he heads back out on the track.
88 should easily be the first car to have pitted. There's the 5. He's going to be racing this 54 right here of Gibbs, who pitted a couple laps ago. So you see what 2 laps on fresher tires did for Ty Gibbs. He closed right up to the rear bumper of the 5 of Larson. Now you would imagine the new tires is going to help the 5. Busher remained on the racetrack with Reddick, Wallace, Kozlowski, Zane Smith all yet to pit. So the top 5 cars may be trying to nurse these tires all the way to the finish, save a set of tires. Let's just see what they have to do. We still have 11 laps to go in the first stage.
Good opening stage by this driver here, Ty Gibbs in the 54 Monster Camry. There is some wild racing going on here in the Bank of America ROVAL 400. From Ryan Blaney in 10th to Daniel Suarez to Chase Briscoe to AJ Allmendinger. This was crazy.
You just have such a combination. The 6 right there, that blue and white car, he's yet to come to pit road. He knows this is a bad situation currently, but he's trying to save a set of tires. Then Briscoe says, I'll try 4 wide. The 38 is like, I don't want to be here, but I have to go through. And Brad Keselowski finally says, Uncle, I'm going to lift because I know I don't have the grip. Check us out on the onboard.
I see a gap. 4 wide at the ROVAL.
This isn't going to work. You said it, Steve, though, just a difference in pace between new tires and older tires.
The Bank of America fan cam, and the fans are loving it here at Charlotte Motor Speedway on this elimination race to determine who will be the drivers in the round of 8.
Chris, yeah, I'm sorry, Diff. I was going to say, Busch is yet to pit, right? Reddick's second.
Yeah.
So Buescher has 8 seconds over SVG. SVG's running about 4 seconds a lap faster on the fresher tires. So I think there's really 2 choices, Kim. These guys can either pit with 3 laps to go, or they could run all the way to the end of the stage. What are you hearing?
Yeah, after that kind of green flag cycle, they came on the radio and told Chris Buescher that this play that they're seeing other teams do, they don't think is really any faster. So they told him, manage the tires as much as you can, because if we can run it out, it should put us in a really good spot with an extra set of tires. So I think they're intending to go through the end of the stage for the 17.
Kim, I'm going to call them half right. I love the idea of saving an extra set of tires. I think they're dead on. But I do think pitting is faster, because I think when traffic gets to them, Jeff, they're going to be pushed offline, and I think they're going to lose a lot of spots really, really quick. For sure, this 88's coming through. 45 of Reddick also on old tires, so let's ride on board with the 45 instantly. Look how much better the fresher tires for the 88, really no defense. I think it's really how efficiently you can get past. Is that really a thing? Like, that sounds silly, Jeff, but I think if you can just do it without getting offline and getting stuff on your tires.
Where you get past is really important. If you get past, say you get on the outside here, you see all the tire rubber that's built up on the racetrack, you can lose 4 or 5 seconds. So if you can help, you're just trying to make the best average lap time you can if you're Tyler Reddick and you're Chris Buescher. So kind of letting those guys by at the right time is actually better for you.
Marty?
Lee, what's the plan for the 45 team and Tyler Reddick? Listen in.
Doing fine here. A lot of guys are breaking this up. It's going to definitely up on tires, so we'll just stick to our plan right now.
So Billy Scott agrees with Scott Graves in saying, hey, I think this is going to put us at a tire advantage later. But you saw one problem, Steve. That's the fact that SVG was literally 4.5 seconds, now 5 seconds faster than Tyler Reddick. The other problem is when they line up to start stage 2, they're planning on flipping the stage here for the 45 team. When they line up to start stage 2, they'll have a couple laps on those tires with brand new stickers lining up behind them. That's the issue with the 45 strategy. We'll see how it plays out, but they are trying to save a set of tires for later as more cars go by Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, we're just going to have to see what they do, whether they decide to pit with 3 to go or run the stage out. Reddick doing a really nice job of kind of holding his line, forcing the others to get offline. You see the back of that car dancing around, really very little rear grip.
Remember, what they're banking on is that they will have an extra set of tires, right?
That's right.
They have one pathway to make the next round of playoffs for this car, and that's to win the race, right? So they're going to give up some track position and hope they get a chaotic race where a lot of people are having to pit, put new tires on. And we can see if you have new tires, it's a big advantage. So willing to give up some now to potentially have an advantage later.
Hopefully have something later. 5.5 laps to go in this opening stage of the Bank of America ROVAL 400. Here comes SVG on Chris Buescher. Van Gisbergen's already been down pit road, already got some fresh tires on. And that WeatherTech Chevrolet for Trackhouse is back in the lead again. Is it going the way you thought it was going to go? Many would say yes, maybe some no. A long way to go. This race is being brought to you by Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? As we ride on board with Bubba Wallace, with thanks to Xfinity Mobile, got so close last weekend in Kansas. A corner away, 2 corners away, and that unfortunate collision with his team boss, one of his team bosses and co-owner, Denny Hamlin. It's been a big topic of discussion this week. Bubba told everybody yesterday that he and Denny spoke here on site yesterday, and they have cleared the air. Here's the Busch Light number 1 Chevrolet for Trackhouse Racing of Ross Chastain as he makes that move on Chris Buescher. Different strategies playing out there.
Yeah, Buescher just doing a nice job, much like Reddick, you know, kind of holding his line, understanding, you know, there's times to defend and times not, as you see the car wiggle even on the high bank. So Buescher's going to come to pit road right here, I believe. He's going to come left as long as with AJ Allmendinger. So these cars are all flipping the stage. So what they're doing is coming to get in their tires right now, and then they'll stay out at the end of the stage. So it's going to be interesting to see is how fast these cars run after their pit stop, Kim.
Yeah, and we kind of heard the radio of the 17 talk about the possibility of running it out. At one point about 2 laps ago, they said, we hear your rear grip is going away. We will be ready if you need it. So they will flip this stage, Marty.
AJ Allmendinger also going to flip this stage along with Ryan Blaney getting some fresh Goodyear tires. Tyler Reddick also will come down pit road as well. He fell all the way back from 15th after starting on the pole today. Michael Jordan is here in the 45 pit box watching on. Reddick didn't really say a word about the handling of the race car. We'll see if this strategy pays off for those fresher tires that will be available to them later in the race, Kim.
And his teammate Bubba Wallace also taking the opportunity to pit. It's been a struggle this entire run. In fact, early in the run, he said, guys, I am already struggling. So just trying to hang on to that 23.
Boy, that was close. Sorry, Marty, go ahead.
I was going to say it's been a frustrating race for Austin Cindric. He's coming down pit road as well. There he hits his pit stall. He has been back in 36 for much of this race after missing the backstretch chicane a couple of times. 4 fresh Goodyear tires will certainly help here, sitting before the end of stage 1.
Yeah, it's been a rough day. Been a rough start for the 2 from Team Penske, the Menards Ford.
Steve, you said it. All these guys that are pitting right now, they're going to go as slow as they can, I would imagine, and stay in the lead lap. Austin Cindric, however, is not that far ahead of SVG, so he's not going to be able to ride around as much as everyone else trying to save tires.
Well, let's listen into the 45 radio.
All right, straight back to your rhythm now. Just take care of them here, running 3 laps total. Just maintain your gaps here, that's what you're looking for.
So, you know, I think this works if you can run really, really, really slow. But I don't know how well you could take care of your tires and still run lap time. I think they will, you know, cool off and refire better. But, you know, you see them not attacking, just kind of setting back. You heard take care of them again, right? They don't want him engaging because, remember, they're going to stay out in 2 more laps. So he's stuck on these tires. Reddick's like, but I can pass him. I want to pass him.
You may have noticed Reddick's exit from pit road. It was super close, Jeff, with Cole Custer.
It really was. Custer and they were side by side, and it is narrow on pit exit. The other thing that we started to learn about tire wear is also it happens under braking. You start to take some speed out of car as you're braking as far as wear on the tire. So you want to just roll speed, not use a lot of brake, not use a lot of throttle. Believe it or not, there's an art to saving tires, not just going slow. It's how do you go slow. This is the pit exit we talked about. It's a 90-degree corner with a wall on the outside. That was tight. Spotters did a great job right there.
Sure did. Final lap of this opening stage, and Shane Van Gisbergen has been in control for some 16 laps. There's MJ. Michael Jordan watching on. He was so proud of Tyler Reddick here a year ago as he confirmed his spot through into the next round, the round of 8. How's the day going to play out for one of his drivers? Here is the WeatherTech Chevy.
So you have the 88 who's going to easily win this stage. Well, what's really impressive is look at the playoff bubble, right? So the 88 leading, the 5 of Larson second. I love what they did. These stage points should basically mathematically advance him. He came so far above, soaring some points, mission accomplished. 20 of Bell, maybe not mathematic, but he has to feel good. But the 1 of Chastain, Jeff, The first driver out came in 13 points behind. 5th in stage 1, Joey Logano nowhere to be found. So that 13-point deficit is instantly basically cut in half with a 5th place finish. So for the one at Chastain, looking at 3 separate races, big stage 1. Great job by the 1 car.
Yeah, Chastain qualified 10th. Joey Logano back in 16th.
There you have it, stage 1. That's SVG's first stage win here at the ROVAL. And it's his 4th career stage win. We were just talking about Ross Chastain here in the Busch Light Chevy. Nice work from him as far as the big picture story of making it through.
So Chase Briscoe right there. He's not completely safe either. He got points, finishing 7th. The Toyota Cam.
Playoff drivers doing what they needed to do to keep accumulating those stage points. And everybody doing as we thought, chasing this man here. Shane Van Gisbergen, stage 1 complete, stage break coming up. NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? Toyota, let's go places. And by Progressive. Save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit progressive.com. Bank of America building in Uptown Charlotte and Bank of America fan cam. Great to see so many people here enjoying this Sunday afternoon, just north of the Queen City, here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Need to tell you that Valvoline Global, Hendrick Motorsports and Blood Cancer United are teaming up to bring awareness to pediatric blood cancer on one of racing's biggest stages. In a unique collaboration with September's Blood Cancer Awareness Month, the partners have unveiled a one-of-a-kind paint scheme on NASCAR Cup Series regular season champion William Byron's number 24 Valvoline Chevrolet. Enjoying VIP treatment today are the local children responsible for the inspiring artwork. Well done, kids. And a great cause.
A great cause, and near and dear to Mr. Hendrick's heart, a leukemia survivor himself. So just I know he spoke about it some this week when they unveiled the paint scheme, but I know it's very important to the organization, to Valvoline, to everybody on board. It's a great cause. It's great to see. It's a good-looking car. I checked it out in the garage area. And doing what William Byron needs to do. Only 9th doesn't seem like much, but some points scored for the Valvoline team there, the 24 car, that Valvoline on board. I'll bring up real quick, I know it's been chaotic with green flag pit stops, but just keep this in mind with what we expect to see a wave of yellow flag pit stops here. Other than Mexico City, these are surprisingly the shortest pit boxes on the series. You don't think that, right? Big Charlotte Motor Speedway. You think pit road should be fine. Well, keep in mind they're very, very small, so these crew chiefs have got to be very clear with their drivers. Remember, Bell, race 1 at Darlington, pulling out, smashed the nose of his race car. So guys like Paul Wolf right here, they're going to have to be very clear with their intentions to get their drivers in and out of the pit box. How about Chase Briscoe, Kim?
Yeah, lots of drivers complaining about cars, including Chase Briscoe. Needs lateral grip, but he's got another complaint. Take a listen.
I don't know if we have, I definitely need a cold water with a hole in the top, and I don't know if you guys have anything like nausea medicine, something I can take.
Oh boy, that doesn't sound good for Chase Briscoe.
Hey, now listen, if it's nerves nausea, I'm okay with it. But if it's stomach bug nausea, then that's going to be a long day.
Yeah, I've been in that situation, and certainly it's worse under caution, right? Now you're like, oh no, what's wrong with me? Do I have a major problem here, right? You're thinking about it. Can you give me some medicine? Give me something to take. Just give him a placebo.
This is going to fix it.
There you go, we're good.
Pit road has been a topic of conversation, Kim Kuhn, during these playoffs. Let's see how they handle the pressure this time by.
Yeah, Ross Chastain said, I'm just so tight in 7. In fact, tight everywhere, but I do feel like I turned better than the last set of tires. So right now I also need more rear grip, so they did make an air pressure adjustment, Parker.
Same comments from Chris Rebel, who finished 4th in stage 1, just said he's tight in that car, was losing the rear tires the last 3 laps. For Kyle Larson, he was asking the team if NASCAR was planning to sweep the marbles off the track, considering where he's going to restart, Marty.
Shane Van Gisbergen told his team it was better, but today is going to be all about taking care of the rears. Everybody's going to talk about that. That 88 team will lose a spot here on pit road, and Ross Chastain overshoots it, leaving pit road. What a fantastic stage 1 it was for that team, but how many spots will he lose right there?
It's going to be interesting to see how NASCAR scores that, because you're technically scored at the yellow line, which is the end of pit road. So right here, watch the 1 car. He's going to cross the yellow line right there.
And then
so we know he doesn't make the corner, locks up the tires, so I could see that A, he gets a spot back, or I could say B, he loses a spot because he didn't maintain pace car speed. We'll get NASCAR's ruling when we return.
Hey fans, quick reminder, when in Las Vegas, stay where the races stay. That's at the South Point Hotel, Casino and Spa. The ultimate pit stop on the Las Vegas Strip. South Point, everything you want, all under the one roof. We've got everything we want here, all at the one racetrack. Plenty of action and plenty of things to talk about in this elimination race of the playoffs, especially this exit off pit road by Ross Chastain.
Major mistake by Ross Chastain. He was just carrying too much pace and could not turn. He ended up having to stop and watch all the cars go by him. So he wasn't involved in a wreck. He just simply made a mistake. Here he is stopped. All these cars go by him, and he is going to line up where he rolls back in.
Check
just
this
simply
out.
misses it. Just
Look,
simply misses it.
He looks left, and then he's like, oh, I'm not going to make it left. So here's the ruling, right? He scored relative to the 71 right here. But then as soon as he doesn't maintain the speed of the rest of the field, when he goes straight and stops, all these cars that are passing him, in my mind, that is no different than shutting the car off under yellow and it's stalling and cars driving by you on the racetrack. You can lose position under yellow. I think that's different than if everyone stops because they have to let the field by. You see right here, here's the onboard. He turns the wheel, watch it go straight. It just isn't reacting.
Well, he turned too late. He just didn't get
right.
pointed quick enough. And look, you just talked about before the end of that stage, the points that he earned compared to Joey Logano. He would have come off pit road in 15th.
Yeah.
He is now 30th.
Oh.
And Joey Logano came off pit road in 18th. That is a major mistake.
We were just singing his praises before that round of stops. Let's check in with our Hall of Famer, Dale Jarrett. DJ, what did you make of that?
Yeah, well, we were going to talk about how great a job Ross Chastain did there, getting those points that he needed to close that gap with Joey Logano. Giving these spots back is going to be very difficult there. The other thing is, now we have a shorter stage. Steve, is anybody going to think about trying to run it any longer here?
That's a great question, DJ. Because of these yellows, we're going to restart with 21 to go. So the whole idea of saving a set of tires is 4 laps easier on this stage right here. Although I don't know if easy and tire life go together today. Those seem to be a pretty big challenge.
Well, they're going to come in to the Echo Park Automotive restart zone. It's going to be crucial, so important. And you've got a ROVAL winner in AJ Allmendinger at the front of this pack with Chris Buescher.
SVG's restarting about 12th place. He's the first car on new tires.
There it
Larson actually beat him off pit road, so actually Larson, SVG side by side.
Here we go, back to action. Great start, AJ Allmendinger. And look at Ryan Blaney in the 12 around the outside. That was brilliant. Here comes Van Gisbergen on the inside.
Contact with he and Larson.
That Valvoline race off pit road was brilliant by the 5 team, but now Trackhouse responds in the form of SVG. They're in the midst of the pack though. Different strategies at play. 3 wide through there as Austin Cindric gets shuffled out.
And Larson doing a nice job of letting the 88, either by choice or by design, kind of punch his way through this 88. Watch right here, that white car, middle of the screen. There's no way he doesn't think another position into this hairpin. There you go, to the outside, rolling the top. The 5 rolls the bottom. The 88's got to pass the 41 on the outside. Probably has enough tire to out-accelerate the 41, and instantly look up the road at the 48 on the backstretch.
Van Gisbergen got nailed there last year by Carson Hocevar with just 48 laps to go, and he will have learned a lot from that maiden experience in Cup Series racing here at the Roval as he picks his way through traffic.
This is where SVG's so good, is that his momentum can go from back to front so quick, right, Jeff? Like, he backed the corner up to be on offense. That's 6 or 7 spots in just a lap, and it's working, gapping to the 5.
Well, Larson was right behind him. Now there's 2 cars in between him.
We saw this the first year we ever saw him run it at Chicago Street Course. He passed people in corners that I didn't believe were passing zones. He proved us wrong. Look at this mess. I don't know if that's a passing zone or a fighting zone.
And
all of the above.
And Chastain's right back here in the middle of it. His life just became way more difficult because of that problem on pit road. The 42 car, John Hunter Nemechek, you see him.
Look at this. And Briscoe not feeling well. And he's going to be on the outside now, the inside of Chastain.
The outside's an advantage leaving that corner. Chastain giving him no room.
The team were able to get Chase Briscoe an ice pack, which he put in under his race suit. and just on his chest, and then zip the race suit back up again. By the way, we've reached a stage of this race, and with points accumulation already, that Kyle Larson has clinched his way into the round of 8.
Oh, the 48, what a nice move. Slides back in line, and look what the draft does. Right, like he slid in line in between the push from the 20 and the toe off the 5. Unfortunately, he just can't hold off the late breaking 20 of Bell.
That was beautiful.
And that's a tire advantage. That's about 3 green flag laps, the way the strategy is working out. Normally 3 laps doesn't matter. That's what I love about this tire, is it does not allow this race to be called simple and easy as it always has. And I agree with that because I'm sitting up here and I don't have to call it. So the tougher it is, Diff, the better.
Well, look, and also that creates opportunity. The truth of the matter is, the more difficult it becomes, someone's going to take advantage of it. It creates an opportunity to do something better when you have tires or whatever, a track that's challenging. The best rise to the top. Look at this battle right here, the 54 car, 23 above a wall. This little contact. Just a little nudge.
Here's Ross Chastain's view out the back of the 19.
Remember, there's a little contact between those guys a little bit ago. And Chastain's got to do a really good job of just collecting himself.
Yeah.
Right? He made a mistake. And every race car driver makes mistakes. You're not going to recover from that mistake in a few laps. Lap after lap, Kim. You can't try to get it all back in one lap.
No, you can't. You have to think about the overall picture and how that can affect the rest of that race. Remember, he lost 15 positions from overshooting the exit of pit road, and now there's going to be a domino effect. Listen to what crew chief Phil Surgeon told Ross before we went green.
Strategy-wise, we may have to change things up here. Right now, my plan would be to flip the next stage.
Now, originally, Phil had told me this morning they thought that could maybe run out the stage 2 with it being just a slight bit shorter. Now, that could come into jeopardy, the strategy they had come into the race with. Steve, what do you make of what Phil told his driver?
Well, I love the idea of, hey, I'm not sticking to my plan, as we see a huge lockup right there. I believe that was a 77 locked up. Caught the 2 of Cindric. As we see these cars sneak to, Cindric still sits backwards in the middle of it. The 77 will do his stop and go. The 2 probably will. Oh, it doesn't matter if the 2 stops or not. He's broken. Right rear toe link is broken. So let's take a look. 77 is the car locked up. Front tires haven't rolled yet. Still haven't rolled. Just a huge mistake by Carson Hocevar. It wasn't ill-intended, but a mistake still the same. It spins the 2 out and I think breaks the toe link.
You see this a lot. Cars locking up. They're coming off of the banking of NASCAR 3 and 4, and it flattens out, and they'll lock the tires up and just slide them forever. I'm sure those front tires are damaged, and really the 77, let's see if he stops. He never came to a stop. He's still rolling. The tires never stopped rolling, so he still owes NASCAR a penalty. He's got to come back and stop.
Nothing has gone the way of Austin Cindric today. One thing after another for the driver who came in 12th and last in the playoff standings, needed a magical weekend, and unfortunately for the driver of the 2, it has been anything but, and not always his fault either.
And we're on board with the 1 when that all happened. Can you imagine that? This is on board with the 2. He's hearing that somebody's coming, but he has to make the corner. Bang! And just like that, blindsided, nothing the 2 could do. You said it, Jeff. Nothing's gone right for the 2. Back to the conversation, the 1 of Chastain. What I was going to say is up the road, as you get through this smoke and your heart starts to settle, you know, the 22, Joey Logano, your target of the day, is only 4 cars up the road, Jeff. So I think you could try to do something to watch this on board with Hocevar. I mean, you know, all I was thinking, surely not Ricky Stenhouse again. I mean, Hocevar Stenhouse has had a lot of run-ins this year, and here's a 77. You mentioned the damage, flat tires on the front of this car.
Yeah, it drug him so far that it flat spotted him and actually flattened him. You showed the 2 car. He has damage. I'm sure Cindric, he is not in a good mood. He has just had a horrible day on a day where they had to win. Just nothing has gone right.
By the way, Hocevar did serve his stop and go on the back stretch. Marty, tell us more.
You guys have summed it up for Austin Cindric. Team Penske probably not going to be able to make it to the round of 8 with this 2 car. They've had 2 penalties in the backstretch where they've had to stop in the chicane, a full stop. Austin did tell Brian Wilson it's a clean break of the right rear toe link. They're going to pit now to service that toe link, then go around the track, come back down pit road for fresh tires. But you can see the leaders flashing by Austin Cindric right now as he sits in 35th with the playoff hopes dashed here at the ROVAL.
Yeah, came in at 48 below, Diff, so it was a win or nothing. No chance of winning for the 2 car.
Celsius Chevrolet for Corlick Racing. AJ Allmendinger leads the way. It's over for Austin Cindric. There's still hopes for Tyler Reddick. It's looking tough for Bubba Wallace. Ross Chastain, can he recover? Logano is above the cut line at the moment. The ill-feeling Chase Briscoe. And for these guys, the story's looking a whole lot better. They're focusing forward to the round of 8. '25 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs continue here on USA. The Bank of America ROVAL 400, and there's the Bank of America fan cam. They're loving it. And especially that guy there with his Ryan Blaney shirt. His driver is already through, right at the top of the points tally, and he sits second in that discount tire Ford, chasing out after AJ Allmendinger for the lead of this race with just 14 laps to go in stage 2.
These drivers had pitted a few laps before the end of this stage. We weren't sure how much those tires were going to hurt them, but I will tell you, the front 4 drivers are doing an amazing job. SVG's a little faster back in 5th, but just kind of inching his way in. I'm sure he's being a little conservative, but these 4 as well, maintaining a pretty nice gap.
It's pretty interesting. Every driver in the top 12 right now has won a cup race on a road course. So on a difficult day, when the tires wear out and you have to be precise and find a way to make speed, the guys that do it the best have found a way to the front.
Give some credit to Daniel Suarez as well. Trackhouse has been featuring today. The orange car you see next in shot, that is Suarez. And he's ahead of his Trackhouse teammate.
You see the playoff bubble, bottom left-hand side of your screen. Joey Logano up 11 points on Chastain. Joey Logano has kind of been stuck right here in this position. I don't really know how much pace he has. I'm not sure how many cars he can pass. And I do believe that Chastain from behind is a faster car. And I think Chastain has an opportunity to make up spots. So currently, 11 points is all that separates them. We have a stage break coming in 13 laps and then a long run to the end. Joey Logano is nowhere near safe to make the next round of playoffs.
I think a big deciding factor is going to be these last 13 laps in this stage, right? Is there a way that Logano or Chastain can find their way with strategy and with people pitting inside the top 10 to score points? That, to me, is the real trick.
Well, Chastain has made up, after making that pit lane error, has made up 10 positions since the restart. Here comes Ryan Blaney. He's coming to pit road with 13 to go. It'll be 12 when Allmendinger crosses the line.
And I think it's going to be a busy pit lane. I think everyone that pitted in the middle of stage 1 and liked that call is going to do the same thing again. So you see right there the 9 of Chase Elliott. I believe that's Bubba Wallace in the white car. Custer, Logano. So there you go if you're Chastain. Logano has made his decision. Maybe you could go to the opposite strategy, Kim.
Yeah, Chase Elliott bottom right again. No major complaints again. Would like some more grip, so no big adjustments for Chase. 4 fresh tires. Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Give an interesting move here for Ryan Blaney, and also at the very front of pit road, Tyler Reddick. These were teams that went to the flip point in stage 1, just 3 laps before the end of that stage. They split stage 2. We'll see if that helps him out. Joey Logano trying to cling to those 11 points Jeff mentioned a moment ago. Everyone, same story, struggling for rear grip, especially as long as they run, but coming here halfway through stage 2.
So instantly you'll see what happens. Now Chastain is plus 10 on Logano. Now Logano's just left pit road, but to Jeff's point, that's how quickly they move, right? In the middle of these cycles, you can give up 20 points coming to pit road. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all cycles out.
I'm interested to see what the one car does now. Like, what's their strategy? Are they going to try to stay on track? Can they steal stage points? And I think it would be difficult for them to do as far back as they were.
That's the problem.
Yeah, do they ride around here for a few laps and kind of see what happens in front of them?
I mean, they're 16 seconds behind the leaders, so I think the leaders can put on new tires and then pass the one again.
Right. But could you finish 7th or 8th or 9th and just get a few points?
Now Chastain at this moment is one of the faster cars on the racetrack.
Looking at a couple of Watkins Glen winners here in the top box on screen with AJ Allmendinger and Chris Buescher. And Allmendinger's car is moving around a lot. He's got his hands full in that Celsius Chevy. And Buescher is on the attack. These two pitted at exactly the same time on lap 22. This is a straight up fair fight here between these guys.
I think it's important to note also that SVG hasn't run them down. You know, we thought on newer tires, Shane could just get through the field and get to him, but there he is. He's getting there, but it has taken this entire time to get this close.
I would say that being down in Mexico City and covering that race, his patience on tires was quite just unbelievable. And I think that you see that lower, straighter exit as well. So I do think he knows how to manage tires.
That's a really cool shot.
He's so good.
Just completely different ideas on how to get to the banking.
And that advantage is evaporating, and evaporating fast, because here is SVG.
That right there showed you the advantage that SVG has over the field. His braking opportunities into the chicanes is where he gains up so much space. He is so good at carrying speed under braking. Look at this. Look at that roll speed. And then on corner exit, look, that's 4 car lengths in one chicane. It isn't that he makes up tons of ground on the slow corners. It's the heavy braking areas where he beats everyone.
And the 17 was loose on the high banks. The rear tires are going away so much on that car. The 16, you see it kind of sliding left and right, front tires locking up. I think the 88's just kind of biding his time right here, trying not to slide tires.
5 laps difference, speaking of tires, Steve, 5 laps difference between these guys. He's got 5 laps fresher tires, Marty, has Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, SVG catching those top 2. Probably will try to make a move on Buscher here in this corner. And doing all this while he's not happy with the car. Listen in.
Yeah, these tires are I've used them up early with the low pressure and it's damaged them. Now I got nothing.
10-4.
Got nothing and making a pass for second. SVG now trying to set his sights on A.J. Allmendinger, who was supposed to pit 1 lap ago, Steve, but the driver made the call. Hey, I'm going to stay out.
Well, I know it feels like he has nothing, but he has something more than everyone else at this point in tires.
He's doing plenty with nothing.
But I think that's the point, though, Jeff, right? Like, it's all about your perception, right? Like, he has what he's looking for versus these two, but you see the 5 of Kyle Larson about 20 car lengths back, who, you know, he's on the same strategy as the 88, and I think the 88 knows the 5s maybe a little better right now.
So he hasn't driven away. He didn't catch those leaders as quickly as I thought he would on newer tires, and he also hasn't driven away from Larson.
Here comes Allmendinger on pit road. Marty standing by.
Yeah, we mentioned A.J. Allmendinger, the driver, making the call. He was called to pit road the last lap, but he said, hey, I'm going to stay out here. And then a moment ago, Trent Owens said, hey, I know you want to make it to where we can flip the stage, running about 6 more laps. There's no way we can make it to that point. He said it's the freest the 16 car has been all day long, but did a terrific job on those older tires out front, held the lead for quite a while.
Let's watch this with a lot of interest. Can Kyle Larson close that gap to SVG? High above, Charlotte Motor Speedway, and the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs continue here on USA with the Bank of America ROVAL 400. Lee Diffie, Steve Letarte, Jeff Burton with you on a lovely Sunday afternoon here in North Carolina. Time to check out which drivers are on the move. Brought to you by Valvoline. Ross Chastain, after that pit lane hiccup, he's up 19 spots.
Yeah, those 19 spots are very important because he's up to 11th, and with 7 laps to go, and I'm sure some pit stops up the road. It's going to be very important for the 1 car to kind of focus on what he has going on. There's going to be a lot of chaos around him, but I do think there may be a choice for Chastain to steal some stage points here in the closing laps. Look at, speaking of the chaos around him, he's right in the center. Allmendinger has already pitted, so there's no way the 1's going to be able to hold off to 16, and that's really the concern, is cars that come to pit road, do they have enough tire to literally just run the 1 back down and go by him? We're just going to have to wait and see over the next 7 laps.
Yeah, Chase Elliott's about 7 seconds behind him. That's the next car that's on better tires. He's going to go by the 24 Byron. He's been about 2 seconds a lap faster than William Byron.
Let's talk more about William Byron. Here's Parker.
And Lee, it's been incredible to listen to the radios of these teams as they try to navigate this tire wear and making decisions on the fly. Some of the drivers, even including William Byron, almost sound out of breath as they're trying to describe what's happening in the car, including asking the drivers to go further in this stage than they think the tires are possible. Take a listen to William Byron's radio.
Trending like you're going to have to make these live. I'll keep you updated. You're 5 away from the split if people hit. I don't see how I'm going to make these last.
Well, and somehow he has, as they're going to get to the end of this stage and then short pit the stage, as many of these teams are thinking of doing, including Larson and Chris ROVAL. But it's been a huge task for some of these drivers to go over 10 laps on these tires.
That's what I've been impressed with, the speed on the 1 car. You know, he has the same amount of laps that William Byron has, and he is much faster than his 24 car.
This is going to sound crazy, but I really think the 1's chance of advancing is the next 5 laps. I think he's better than Logano. I think he can outrun him a few in the final stage, but if he can get inside the top 10 and score 4 or 5 points right here, he is starting the last stage heads up against the driver in the 22 that he has outrun all day.
Just remember, there's a lot of people in front of Chastain that will probably pit before the end of this stage, and that will advance him. The question is, how many will pit and how many will catch him from behind to determine if he can earn points or not.
There's going to be a story at the end of the day, if he makes it or if he doesn't, about that hiccup on pit road, exiting after that most recent stop. But boy, has it been a diligent comeback from Ross Chastain. Van Gisbergen leads. Chastain's above the cut line at the moment. 5 to go in this stage. Inside the final 4 laps of this second stage at the Bank of America Roval, we've got more takers on pit road. Buscher, Suarez, Allmendinger is back in. Parker.
Right, and Christopher Bell is one of those. This is the planned stop to shorten this stage, basically flip it here to put 4 Goodyear tires on. They asked him to do this and kept him updated throughout the run. He's just been a little tight in that 20 car, especially in the right-hander.
Not racing, taking it easy. You heard on the radio for the 20, Kim.
Yeah, and for Chase Briscoe, he said the straight line could be better, but limited because of the back end. This last adjustment you made it better. Continue with that direction of the adjustments. I do want to say they did put stomach relief medicine the last stop in his water bottle. You see Bubba Wallace just still a struggle for him today. Kind of slow getting out of his box, Parker.
Denny Hamlin on pit road. This was planned because they weren't going to get stage points, so they decided to flip the stage here. He's also been struggling with a tight race car.
The story to me moves to the front of the pack, the 88 of SVG. I think he's going to pit here on the next time by. He has such a big gap that he's going to pit and rejoin probably in 5th or 4th, right around Chastain. We'll see if the 88 decides to pit right here. That's the first update about the running order. He's been so good that I think he can almost get a free pit stop here. You only lose about 25 seconds pitting and taking tires. So you see the 88 come down pit road. The 5 of Larson may join him. If he does, that's music to Chastain's ears because he might be able to get in front of the 5. So let's cover these pit stops and then most importantly, where they blend versus Chastain on the racetrack. Marty.
It's a fascinating chess match between crew chiefs down here, Steve. You see the 88 come to pit road, who truly did struggle with the handling at the end of that run. Paul Wolfe was planning on flipping this stage, but when the 1 stayed out, they felt like they had to stay out to get stage points, Parker.
Right, and Kyle Larson just been struggling sliding the rear tires, especially some of the higher speed corners. They've been consistently keeping updated what he's been doing differently to SVG corner by corner and trying to get him to adjust to see if he can catch him a bit.
So there's the 88 off pit road. Here comes the 1 of Chastain, who is trying his darndest to hold off a quick closing 9 of Elliott. The question is, if Larson wants to run, he can run him down and pass him no problem. I just don't think he wants to push his tires. I think he wants to roll around 2 slow laps. So right now, though, the 1 of Chastain is running in the 4th position. That would be a huge bucket of stage points.
Well, the key to this, I believe the 9 of Elliott's going to get to Chastain. He's definitely faster. We'll have a chance. Then it falls back to the people behind Elliott. How much speed do they want to put on their tires and where? There's no question, Steve just said it, the 5 car is fast enough, the 20 is fast enough. Logano is an 8. He can get stage points, but behind him, as you see a pass with Elliott, behind him is Suarez and Custer. Suarez definitely has better tires, but does Suarez want to wear those tires out and get by the 22?
Bottom box is Joey Logano. He's in 8th place at the moment. So you saw Elliott get by Chastain, look further back behind Kyle Larson. There's Logano, just ahead of Suarez. And the final lap of this stage is coming up.
Yeah, they still have a whole lap to go. I don't see how Logano holds off Suarez unless, to your point, Jeff, he's just settled in to not use any tire.
We will see it right here. Suarez could easily pass Logano. He's not doing this helping Logano. He's doing this to not hurt his tires. But Logano is so much slower, will he just ultimately pass him anyway?
What a day for Trackhouse. All 3 cars in the top 10 at the moment. And featuring prominently.
And where it matters is, Greg, it's a point of position inside the top 10. So every position that Chastain finishes ahead is a big deal. Now Elliott has got in front of the 88.
SVG is just riding. He is just saving his tires. He does not want to put tires as he goes so slow that Chastain passes him.
Well, he doesn't care about Chastain because
right.
He doesn't care a lot about points.
Give him more
He's
points.
a teammate also.
Give him more points. Shane said yesterday that this guy we ride with, Ross Chastain, came to the most recent sim session. So Ross Chastain has been helping SVG on ovals. Shane has been helping Ross with road course improvements.
And for the 88, remember, all these cars have to pit still. So he's the leader of the race. So he doesn't want to put any more laps on his tires than he needs to.
Behind them, Daniel Suarez is right to the rear bumper of Logano right now, showing no willingness to pass him, just saving his tires. All these guys are just running maybe 20-30% pace. They just don't want to hurt their tires.
End of stage 2, Ryan Blaney's 9th stage win of this year. Tied for the most with Kyle Larson. Nice work, but That doesn't matter a whole lot to him. Well, it does for the points. Certainly accumulation going into the round of 8, but on the day, yep, good to be up there, but this is where the scrap has been, and Ross Chastain gets 7 points for finishing 4th in that stage after a mistake on pit road. That was a gutsy performance in stage 2. What a comeback from Ross Chastain. Reddick was in there for valuable points. And so too Joey Logano. NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. One internet price, 5 years guaranteed. And by Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? Speaking of Bank of America, let's check out some Bank of America fan cam again. For the folks here today at Charlotte Motor Speedway, young, old, any age, having a great time, for sure. I want to tell you about Wings-inspired Toyota, designed by students from the Carolina Youth Coalition and Rise to Impact, who participated in the Jordan brand Wings design program on Tyler Reddick's car. The kids did a terrific job, and Wings provides opportunities to youth in education, mentorship, and inspiration. The Wings initiative is responsible for over 4,000 scholarships awarded, 36 internships. Over 1,400 students have completed the design program. So thanks to Nike and Michael Jordan and everybody involved. And on the back quarter panel of that car, you see, yes, NBA on NBC. It returns with the first game, Houston Rockets at defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder, October 21st. And also the All-Star game is on NBC, February 15th. From LA. So a lot to look forward to.
I was on the grid after driver introductions, and all those guys were around that car, and Tyler started walking to it. They all started chanting, "Tyler, Tyler." I mean, it was fun. Tyler liked it. He giving fist pumps. A lot of energy, good time.
Let's give you a Toyota driver update, and we mentioned this for Kyle Larson a little earlier in the race at this phase of the race with the amount of points that have been accumulated. Well, in addition to Larson, add Christopher Bell's name to that list, confirming his advancement to the round of 8 on points.
We're going to have a round of pit stops here, and the field will be reset, and then we're going to give you a really good snapshot of where everybody stands. Currently, Hamlin and Byron, even though maybe not having the best days, still doing what they need to do for points. But I think it's going to be an absolute slugfest between the 1 of Chastain, the 22 of Logano, and the 19 of Briscoe. And remember, that's not calculating in a new winner. Reddick hanging out around the front of this field. If he can get back up there and compete with SVG, it could really throw everything upside down.
Kim Kuhn standing by.
And what the one team did in that stage is the perfect example of needing to be nimble with your strategy calls in a race like that. Ross said it felt more neutral on the front end, but the right rear, he said, is absolutely gone. Chase Elliott said that was pretty good middle ground on how the car felt. We're in a good spot. Marty?
Jonathan Asser told me this morning, if we can get a playoff point, we absolutely will take advantage of that. Remember, they've already advanced to the round of 8. Longer stop here for the 12 of Blaney. He'll certainly lose some track position there. Meanwhile, Tyler Reddick, 9 critical stage points for the 45, and they take advantage of that first stall on pit road to win the race off pit road. Of those who pitted, he said, I pushed it way too hard, too early. I'll do a better job on this run.
Valvoline race off pit road. Great work from 2311 and Tyler Reddick at the 45 team. So too Chastain and Logano behind Chase Elliott.
It is Elimination Sunday here at the Charlotte Roval for the NASCAR Cup Series, and it's time to reveal who made the cut in the NASCAR Powerball playoff. Congratulations to these 8 lottery players that are now locked in for the chance to win $1 million at NASCAR Championship Weekend in Phoenix. Experience NASCAR as a Powerball VIP like Patricia Hockaday, the semifinalist from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Today, Patricia got exclusive access to the Cup Series garage and met the driver of the Wood Brothers number 21 car, Josh Berry. Want to experience racing like this? Follow your local lottery. Powerball, the official lottery game of NASCAR.
Congrats to those 8 people. Still with a chance to win the big bucks. I want to show you something from just a moment ago that affected Ryan Blaney and the 12 team.
Clean on the right side on the way up. You're going to see the tires get hung. A little bit of a bobble on the right rear, right there with the hang. You saw the late index, so that means the tire wasn't tight. Heads up work by the jack man. You never want to do this twice, but it could have been much worse. He comes over, tighten, jacks the car to tighten the right rear effectively, but that's the slow stop on the 12 car.
So ready to get this 3rd stage going. And we will do that when we come back. NASCAR live here on USA. Slowly edging our way closer to getting stage 3 underway. Let's take advantage of that and check in on the Peacock Pit Box with our Hall of Famer Dale Jarrett. DJ, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's been interesting so far, and as we think about the points that have been gathered so far, Ross Chastain and his team have done a great job of giving them the opportunity to just outperform Joey Logano and the 22 team. But don't count out looking at the 19 car. This is going to be a grueling 3rd stage here with the way these cars are driving, and it's the longest stage that they have. Chase Briscoe not feeling well. Is that going to factor in? And can Tyler Reddick find the speed that he's going to need to try to get that 1st place finish and move in there? So a lot of things could happen here, guys.
Yeah, a Reddick win would really upset the whole world. If we assume we don't have a new winner and we take a look at the points, it really comes down to, I think, a big battle, assuming everybody stays straight and doesn't get caught up in a mess, which is a big assumption here at the ROVAL. But you have Logano and Chastain as they currently run. They're 1 position apart, 2 points on the racetrack. So basically, Chastain has to outrun Joey Logano by 4 positions. That would be a guaranteed advancement of Chastain, barring a new winner. Marty.
Before we get going, Marty, tell us more.
Yeah, I talked to Joey Logano earlier this week. I said, what information do you want? He said all of it. He got the points update just moments ago.
You said I got to finish within 2 spots at a 1?
Yeah, we have the tiebreaker on the 1. Yeah, so like right now as we run,
I'm showing you 2 points ahead of the 1, 20 points behind the 19. So he's 10 spots in front of you now, so that means you'd have to beat him by 10 spots.
Good clear communication to Joey Logano. He knows what's at stake. He knows who he's racing. He knows the point scenario. He said yesterday he wants to know everything about the people he is racing to advance himself to the round of 8. Echo Park Automotive restart zone. Van Gisbergen's on it. Larson sideways. Suarez is in the mix in the 99. And so too Christopher Bell. Look at Larson block Suarez. He knew that he was going for that inside line. Bell's gone around the outside. In the DeWalt Camry, hip against the wall. This is a frantic restart, and Van Gisbergen's like, I'm out of here.
Look at this mess. On board with Joey Logano. He sees that one car, Chastain, getting away from him. He knows what he has to do. He can see the guy he's racing. Chastain's picking up spots, and Logano's under attack.
Look at how jammed this is into turn 7. Into the hairpin.
Look at Chastain. He made it 3 wide on the very outside. And look at the spots he gained by doing it.
Christopher Bell, top box. He is out after Shane Van Gisbergen. The 2022 winner here at the ROVAL. Steve, there are several lining up for SVG. This is not the Kiwis race and another road victory just yet.
The big challenge now is the cat and mouse game of how hard you want to run. When do you come to pit road? This final stage, so much longer than anything we've seen. We're cutting by to basically 53 laps to go in this race, which is forever. You can run 35 on fuel, but all day we've seen 15 to 20 laps on tires really make a difference. So every crew chief is going to have a different strategy, and execution is going to be key of that strategy.
And look at the playoff bubble on your left-hand side of the screen. That restart, Chastain now is 1 point ahead of Logano.
Can you believe where we are a year after Joey Logano left here, went home with his family, thinking I'm out of the round of 8, only for Alex Bowman to be disqualified post-race as we ride with Ross Chastain, the Busch Light on board. Joey said, I was at home having dinner when the phone rang and I found out that Bowman was DQ'd and we were in and we had a chance. And then he went on to Vegas and won the next race and went straight through the championship 4 and won his 3rd NASCAR Cup Series title. It was all the whole complexion of his year changed at this race, and the same is on the line here again 1 year later at the ROVAL for the driver of the 22.
There's a 20 of Bell underneath SVG. Here's Larson. They got really slow through that rear chicane that allowed Larson to catch him.
Whoa! Was there almost contact? There was contact between Bell and Van Gisbergen. And Bell says, I'm coming through. But Van Gisbergen will have the preferred line here into the front chicane. In stage 3, and the gloves are off. And interestingly enough, yesterday Van Gisbergen commented that Bell and Larson were the drivers he was keeping his eye on.
Bell was all the way on the apron of the racetrack. It just couldn't hold it down there. It had to lift. Larson got into the back of him.
That was good, hard racing. And the 3 of Austin Dillon in trouble.
There's a lot of damage to that car.
This could easily generate a yellow if he can't get going. Oh, he gets it in reverse. I'm with you, Jeff. That thing has made some real big contact. There you go. Yellow is out.
That's exiting turn 5 and up and over the crest, heading to 6. Let's have a look at what happened to the RCR driver. Oh boy. Still under caution here at the ROVAL, so let's check out the Xfinity fastest laps. And the man we ride with, Tyler Reddick from 23:11, posted that quickest lap nice and early on in this race here at the Charlotte ROVAL. So next time by, there's 50 laps left in this Bank of America 400. Started to see some pretty spicy action between Van Gisbergen and Bell and Larson, with Armendinger looming. Pit lane is open. Tell us more about Bubba Wallace, Kim.
Yeah, Charles Knight told me this morning their main goal at a minimum was to stay in touch and in contention all day. They really haven't been a factor, so trying something different here, taking fresh tires. Bubba saying the car is getting tighter and tighter as we go, Parker.
Similar case here for William Byron, who's really struggled to keep the tires on that car, especially under braking and acceleration. So just trying to try a different strategy here by coming down pit road.
So you generally think that cautions might be a time to calm down and catch your breath, and just prior to the caution, Ty Dillon, Riley Herbst, they got a little physical. And Riley Herbst kind of took exception to that treatment, so watch this. Jeff, what do you make of it?
Yeah, Riley Herbst is mad. Felt like he gave everybody room. He's mad at Ty Dillon, so he's going to pull up here and let him know it. Going to turn left, hit him, and flatten his own left front tire.
Let's look ahead to next weekend as we head to Vegas. And no trucks next weekend, just Xfinity and Cup. And there's the full rundown for you on the CW app, CW True TV, as usual for practice and qualifying. We'll see you here live on USA, 5:30 Eastern, for the first race in the round of 8. The repair to the tyre bundle, thanks to the AMR safety team and track workers still going on here, pretty much complete. And this is why they needed to fix it.
We talked about how challenging this corner is. It's downhill and a little bit of frustration here, I believe.
I'm going to guess he gets help right here. Can't really tell.
Tire barriers work great for head-on contact, but when every time you hit one of them broadside, it just kind of sucks the car into it. They're great for, you know, if you hang a throttle or a brake spell or something like that.
So this section of the track here, folks, it is so difficult, and TV doesn't do it justice. Cars coming from your right to the left, when they're cresting that hill, It is absolutely blind. I mean, Jeff, from a driver's standpoint, where is your reference point? Because when we went around the track with DJ, you're like looking into the stands. You have no idea where turn 6 is.
Well, a lot of times when you have elevation changes like this and then there's a braking zone right after it, there's many times a bridge or a marker or something that you can line yourself up. Here it's nothing.
Yeah.
And you just have to line yourself up off the paint at right where you are. Normally a driver likes to look way ahead, but you can't up this hill. You have to just pick your left side mark. This is where I want to be, and then you start braking. Look at the tire marks.
Yeah.
Uphill into the braking zone, and that's what makes this corner so difficult.
If you've never been to Charlotte Motor Speedway and on TV, if it looks like the big track around the outside and it's just a perfectly flat infield, Stevie, it is anything but.
Anything but for sure, and that blind corner couldn't be more difficult just because what's on the other side of it, that turn 6 and then that chicane. And I'll just bring the viewers' attention to the left-hand side, Chastain and Logano a point apart. Byron only plus 13, but Byron's running in the 30th position, so you know, don't panic yet if you're a Byron fan. And Logano could get enough points, but it would be a lot.
Lights are out on the 2025 Toyota GR Supra. So we're going to get back to racing here in a second. Plenty of pressure on this man here, Joey Logano and Ross Chastain. They are racing each other for that 8th place, but there's so much racing to go. 48 laps when they hit the line this time by. Multiple stops coming up and a lot of racing to unfold. And if you've watched the 7 ROVAL races thus far in the NASCAR Cup Series, you know that we are far from free of the chaos and the contact and immense competition. This is an elimination race. And out of that Echo Park Automotive restart zone, Christopher Bell got a good jump, so too did SVG. He leads his way. The 5 of Kyle Larson is going with him on the inside. H.A. Armendinger's there, and here comes Chris Buescher. The 17 is around the outside. That'll give him the inside look on Armendinger as they settle into their racing rhythm.
Larson got by Bell for second. Bell was putting a lot of pressure on the 88 before that yellow. Bottom 2, you see Chastain and Logano both on boards. And here's where they are respectively. You see that bright yellow 22 climb the hill.
Watch right here when they get into this 90-degree left-hander. Watch how wide they go. Some will go all the way 3 wide.
Nice job by both the 1 and the 22 to kind of clear some traffic.
Michael McDowell's done a nice job today too for Spire Motorsports. He's in exactly the same position as where he started, 6th spot.
Riding along with Chastain, 2 cars side by side. He can get forward momentum and get by the 11 right here. Watch him as he gets into this front chicane. Let's see if he moves to the right to get by the 11.
This is for 12th place.
Hamlin blocks him. Chastain goes to the left side.
Brad Keselowski ahead for RFK. Meanwhile, up front, Larson has bridged that gap and is really starting to put pressure on Shane Van Gisbergen.
If you don't think these Cup drivers are sick of getting beaten by SVG, you are mistaken. There is no way that you can like a guy coming into your series and winning all these road course races. Every one of these guys has worked. SVG has raised the level of competition. He's made everyone be better. This is a challenge for every one of them. Larson with a big late move.
And Larson said that yesterday, Jeff, to your point. He said Shane has raised the game for all of us. But let's give SVG some credit that we haven't done yet so far in this show. Last weekend in Kansas, he got his first top 10 on an oval, but here comes Larson on the inside. Backstretch chicane. Is it time for a new race leader? Maybe. Yes, it is.
Look at Bell. You catch them side by side in that rear chicane, and it's an opportunity. Bell saw it, laid back just a little bit, used forward momentum to get by him, but this will be a drag race into this very tight chicane.
More contact. Cars bouncing around, dancing under braking. Armendinger, Buescher, McDowell, Suarez, they all feel they're in the mix too.
Don't have the grip early on. Understood.
It was SVG just saying he doesn't have the grip early on in a set of tires. 9 laps basically on the leader's tires. Logano below, battling for 15th with the 9 of Chase Elliott.
The spotters up there need to be doing a great job letting their drivers know that Logano will have no patience with you. Chastain will have no patience with you. They are in a essential tie right now, and they have got to go.
And if it's in a tie situation, Logano wins with the tiebreaker.
The highest finish of the round, which is currently Logano's 4th at New Hampshire, to your point, Diff, right? So unless they really improve their running position, we're going to assume that's going to be the highest finish between either of those cars.
Look at this, couple of former teammates in Chris Buescher and AJ Allmendinger as they fight in that backstretch chicane. And McDowell is looming. Suarez wants a shot as well. And Ryan Preece is hanging around. So good day for RFK Racing.
You're better off, instead of entering that rear chicane side by side, you're better off if the guy is better than you, just letting him go. You just lose too much time, and then the people behind you take advantage of it.
Bottom screen, you onboard Logano, you look up ground. Chase Elliott has gotten by the driver of the 22. Jeff, you said it earlier, you know, the challenge with the 22 is he doesn't have a great race car, right? It's hard to be on offense when you're just not fast enough.
Yeah, then you start pushing, trying to make some speed out of a car that doesn't have it. You get yourself in trouble.
A couple of cars back, you see the 19, the Bass Pro Shops Toyota of Chase Briscoe, driving not feeling 100%. And he's been dancing on a pretty nervous line points-wise. Toyota onboard shows us turn 7 in the hairpin. He's safe at the moment, but there's still 45 laps to go. There's a lot of work for Briscoe to do. The NASCAR Cup Series playoffs here on USA continue. with the Bank of America ROVAL 400. 43 laps to go. A lot to still play out here with still so much on the line. It's an elimination race, and we're determining who the 8 will be that go through to race and still have a chance to be champion. Kyle Busch and Riley Herbst here. And this is only phase 1. It's not over yet. Keep watching.
So pushing and shoving on the back stretch. Should we get to the front stretch? And Kyle says goodbye.
Kyle Busch is 8 laps down after the really early crash.
Back at the front, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Shane Van Gisbergen. And they've been able to drop Allmendinger a little bit. Here we go. There's a taker on pit road, and it's Buescher. Kim's there.
Yeah, Chris Buescher's had a solid day all day long, just complaining about rear grip going away. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel for the 17 car.
I felt like there was a lot of posturing happening on the racetrack, getting in position and then kind of posturing on how much tire you're using up, how hard you want to run. I do think that the 5 and 20 did an amazing job getting by the 88. I think they have definitely put the 88 on notice. We heard that radio that SVG says, my car just won't get going on new tires. But the question is, what does everybody think? I guess that pit stop from the 17 tells me that he probably has 2 more pit stops to finish the race with 42 to go. Now the question is, what are the leaders thinking? And are they all thinking the same thing? Parker, what do you think the 5 of Larson currently leading is thinking?
Well, Steve, it's been a discussion amongst both of these teams, the 5 and the 20, whether it's a 2-stopper or a 3-stopper. When the stage started, it sounded like both teams were leaning towards a 3-stop, but now with that caution, it may have changed things. And both of these teams have been comparing themselves to each other and giving the drivers updates. The verdict, Kyle Larson is better in the backstretch chicane in terms of braking, and Christopher Bell is braking better into turn 7 for both those drivers who've been evaluating each other. Kim?
Well, Parker, for Chase Briscoe, no discussion yet on the strategy call for these final laps of this stage, but they did tell him when we went green on this final stage that the laps they're running now are the best of the day. Chase said, I'm trying to be patient but aggressive. The line, though, between those two at this track is very thin. They also told him we need to stay top 10 or top 12 for the last 41 laps of this race. That way we will have no worries in terms of the transfer, Marty.
Kim, the game is not quite over for Tyler Reddick yet. The Toyota onboard tells the story. They're 18 points behind as of right now. He told Billy Scott a moment ago, I'm out of tires. Billy Scott said, give me 4 more laps. So they're going to stick to the 2-stop strategy. And I have to mention, Michael Jordan, the co-owner of 2311 Racing, has not left Tyler Reddick's pit box the entire day. Remember that big bear hug he gave him when he barely made it into the round of 8 here at the ROVAL last year. Can Reddick pull off another ROVAL miracle? We'll find out, but MJ's watching on.
He's still got plenty of time. 41 to go. Far from over for Tyler Reddick. He's 18 below the cut line at the moment.
Chastain getting past the 9 of Chase Elliott. Pushes Chastain back to 13th. Logano doing a nice job. One of the best runs he's had in the 22, just holding strong in 15th and a point to the good currently. Talk about nervous. When you start counting points by a single number, because we have so many cars in the lead lap, Div, I think that's worth talking about, right? There's 35 cars in the lead lap, so you could have a great day and slip off the track or get shoved off the track in the last corner of the last, and lose all your points and be eliminated. As now we see a busy pit road with Allmendinger. I think that's Kez right behind him, as well as the 48 of Alex Bowman, Marty.
You see A.J. Allmendinger coming down pit road. He gave up the 4th position. He told Trent Owen several times that I've got 0 tire left. I could really use some help. They tried to get a few more laps out of A.J., so pitting here with 40 to go. That would almost put him in a 3-stop window, Steve, but we'll see if they try to do it here on 2 stops to the end of the race.
Yeah, and all of these windows we're talking about is really just a tire strategy. They can go 35 on fuel. It's funny, Jeff, to be at a road course race and not have one fuel conversation. Just, there's so much speed in these Goodyear tires, you're not worried about how much fuel you can pick up.
The tires are worth so much. See Chase Elliott locking the left front tire up. Getting underneath the 45 of Reddick. Here comes Chastain. Trying to do the same.
9's pretty good.
Yeah, he is.
Coming off that spectacular win a week ago in Kansas, with all of the last 2 laps drama, but especially the last 2 corners. And Elliott was there to snatch the win away from the Toyotas of Joe Gibbs Racing in 23-11. It was spectacular. Toyota on board with Reddick. Let's go for a little ride. Have a listen. Briscoe's in, Kim's there.
Yeah, his message to the team on the radio was the rear tires are absolutely gone. They will check them for any corners when they take them off. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, though, for Chase Briscoe.
Kim spoke about what James Small had said to Chase Briscoe about where he needs to stay for them to be safe. And James told me yesterday, I've lived this a couple of times in 2021 and 2023 with Martin Truex Jr., where we're racing, looking at the points, and he said it's so nerve-wracking. And there he is on the radio talking to his driver, just laying out what is needed and what is expected.
Be smooth with your inputs. Don't overslip anything.
The 88 last minute, a little bit of a dive. The 20 locks up front. Well, I guess drops the right rear is technically what happened. I thought it was locked up front tire. The 88 got by.
Almost wonder if he was looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
You know, waiting for the attack to come and just misjudged a little bit.
How easy is it to do that?
For me, it was very easy.
And Bell's on pit road. So great restart, good early scraps, Parker, with Larson and Van Gisbergen, and now he's headed towards you.
Right, and Adam Stevens was watching that exact scenario there with the 88. Christopher Bell had just come on the radio and said, I'm losing the right rear, and then it was a late call to pit road as he was in the banking of the oval 3 and 4. Adam Stevens came on the radio and said, pit, pit, pit. As you see, 4 tires, Christopher Bell, Marty.
We just had mentioned Tyler Reddick, and they were going to try and run a few more laps. They wanted to get that out of it, but Reddick has said a couple of times it's extremely hot inside the car, and they asked him to watch. So Reddick asked his team, watch the onboard. Are you seeing any smoke? I don't see any yet, but it has definitely gotten way hotter inside the 45 car. We'll keep an eye on that as they battle, trying to see if they can get into the round of 8.
And look at where Bell, not only what lap you pit on, but where you blend back into the racetrack. So he blends right behind Buescher, who was last on pit road at lap 67, so he has decent tires. That's not going to be an easy pass for Bell. Up the road is Blaney, and Jeff, you know, all of that. Now you're trying to conserve tire. You have 38 to go. Bell has to real kind of decide what part of this mess he wants to be in. Is he going to chase the 17 through? And why this is happening, what do the leaders do, right? Is this where the 5 decides to come to pit road, or the 88 of SVG? Bell continues to chase the 17. The leaders coming off turn 4. Let's see who pits. Yes, sir. 5 gets on pit road. The 88 stays out and runs another lap. So we'll see where the 5 pits and blends and see if he can blend in front of some of that traffic that has Bell hung up, Parker.
Right, Stephen. Cliff Daniels was watching that battle. You were describing everything that was happening on the racetrack there in terms of where the 5 might be able to come out and beat the 20. It's 4 tires for Kyle Larson here to add that extra grip. Just struggling a little bit still with the rear tires.
So now where will the 5 blend relative to Bell? He should be behind because of the fresh tires, but did Bell get hung up? He's in traffic.
Yeah. This is good. The top 3 and 3 different strategies, albeit by a lap. There's Buescher and Bell.
Oh, the 5's going to have a huge advantage. He's going to get a big gap, not only in time, but positions. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars between the 5 of Larson and the 20 of Bell. Huge advantage to Larson's team for the pit stop and the cycle.
Jeff, we then turn our attention to SVG. What's his in and out lap going to be like?
And I think he has to come this lap. Even as good as SVG is at conserving tires, I think he knows he has competition. Jeff, you said it. Larson and Bell are sick of getting beat. They want to prove they can beat the driver of the 88. I think the 88 has to counter.
Yeah, let's see if their team decides that's what they want to do, or if they want to let SVG do SVG things, and that's run fast times on old tires. Can that work? Could they use a different strategy, or are they going to try to match the strategy? They are pitting.
I think it's the only decision. Now the question is, how did he get to pit road? The roll time. Can the pit crew of the 88 keep up with that lightning fast stop at the 5 of Larson? You see on the upper right the map to give you an idea where everyone is. Marty, the 88 in front of you.
Yeah, move, counter move. Shane Van Gisbergen coming to pit road. He said, I just don't have the grip early in runs that those guys have. And overall, the longer we run, I just need more grip. It was SVG's call to go a little bit longer than the 5 team. He mentioned his pit crew earlier this week, so they've had some struggles over the last month, but they changed some things up last week. We'll see where this pit stop cycles them out.
Yeah, absolutely. The 5's already gone by. Now the 20's gone by, so there's a lot of work for the 88. As we covered that, the 1 and the 22 are now on pit road. Logano's in his pit box. Chastain also. So bunch of battles here, Marty. How's it look for the Logano?
So far, a good stop for this 22 bunch. Paul Wolf was in his window a few laps ago, but he said when the 1 comes, you follow him to pit road. So Joey Logano comes to pit road so far, doing what he needs to do to make it to the round of 8, but there's still 36 laps to go.
It looked like an issue.
Yeah, the 1 car had a much better pit stop than his 22.
Oh, right front won't come off. You see it right there. Struggles to get the right front off, Jeff. You said it. The 1 had a much better pit stop.
So I was interested to see how these teams are going to play it. Jack goes up, right front doesn't come off. I was very curious to see if the 1 and the 22 were going to pit at the same time. The 22 matching the 1 strategy, but the pit crew did not execute.
Is it possible for transferring or not to the round of 8 to be decided by a single pit stop? Maybe, just maybe. And let's tell you more. The comparison between the 22 Team Penske Ford of Joey Logano and the Trackhouse 1 of Ross Chastain. Look at the time comparisons here.
Yeah, 2 seconds faster out of Chastain. You saw the trouble in the right front of Logano. As crazy as this sounds, if you're going to have a slow pit stop, you want it to be under green, because it really only cost him probably 1 point. I think it was 1 position on the racetrack. Under yellow, it could have been 8 or 9 positions. They just can't afford to do it. We expect everyone to pit at least 1 more time, and Logano is like kind of in touch with the 1 car.
I think the big disadvantage is that Chastain is much closer to a group of cars in front of him to potentially make some passes. And Logano is not. He does not have a lot of cars directly in front of him, Parker.
As William Byron hits pit road here for the top 10, he's struggled mightily on the long run. And that last run, he was screaming for tires. Rudy Fugel was begging him to go one more lap and said, we will make it up on the back end, I promise. 4 new tires for him.
Yeah, been a tough day for the 24 team. Meanwhile, for his teammate at Hendrick, Kyle Larson is attempting to snap a 19-race winless streak. It has been a long time, but Kyle's been saying, Jeff, that the team is getting better and better, and even those small increments of improvement are getting us back to where we need to be.
Yeah, and it's an interesting conversation about Hendrick Motorsports. I'm not real sure where this team is of William Byron. They have not had the speed that we expect to see and that we have seen from this team earlier in the year. Let's see what happened here. But can William Byron and that team get going further into this playoffs and find the speed that what is no longer appears to be there?
Chastain, you mentioned the speed, using that speed to get by the 47. Right here, you see the 47 get checked up a little bit behind that Ada Busch, and the one kind of turns left. I think the 47, there's really no choice. I like what Stenhouse did there. He took that really high exit to try to keep momentum. Let's see if there's any contact. It didn't look to see. No, not really. I think Stenhouse knows he's there. And
so what I talked about a little bit ago is that, yes, if you're going to have a bad pit stop, you want to have it under green. The disadvantage currently is that Chastain, you can see the cars in front of him.
Yeah.
He has an opportunity to pass some cars. Logano, you know, he has the 11 car. Sorry, they're on a, sorry, he just got by the 11. So, look, just not that much in front of the 22, Marty.
Joey Logano slightly faster than Ross Chastain. That's what a spotter, Coleman Presley, keeps telling him. So there's been one mistake on pit road by Ross Chastain today, one on the 22 crew. This could come down to a matter of points and certainly a matter of positions. I asked Paul Wolf, what about the car? He said, we simply need more speed. But right now, they're close to Ross Chastain. And you see on the left-hand side of your screen, 3 points behind, Kim.
Yeah, Marty, and points was a big deal for the one team today. Crew Chief Phil Surgeon told me stage points are absolutely necessary, not just for the playoff standings, but big things can happen late in the ROVAL races, so we have to have some insurance. They've done exactly that, finishing 5th and 4th in the stages respectively, despite that hiccup by Ross after the stage 1 pit stops that Martin just mentioned. They set the standings for Ross right before the green flag flew in this final stage. He knows what he has to do. He has put in the work all weekend long in terms of getting ready for this race. Lee mentioned the time he spent with Shane in the sim. He did 4 sim sessions with Parker. 2 of those were with SVG.
And Kim, you used the word insurance, and that's exactly what Denny Hamlin had coming into this race. Plus 48 above the cut line. It has not been a flashy day for the 11 car, who currently runs in 22nd, just hasn't quite had the pace that we normally see out of the 11, although he has self-admittedly struggled at road courses as of late. But this is all they need to do. Currently sitting plus 30 right now. Just simply have that car all rolling on all 4 tires will get them into the next rounds.
31 to go in the Bank of America 400. In this round of 12, which has seen a couple of awesome races so far. It was Blaney at Loudon in New Hampshire that got the lobster. Huge controversy last weekend in Kansas, and a brilliant win at the hands of Chase Elliott. Who's going to do it today, and who gets eliminated today? A reminder, NBA returns to NBC. The first game, Houston Rockets at defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder, October 21st. And a reminder about the All-Star game, also on NBC, February 15 from LA. And there he is, the NBA legend. And we welcome Michael Jordan to the NBC family. He's going to join us on NBA coverage as a special contributor. But he's not thinking about that. MJ's thinking about this 45 car, one of his 2 drivers out on track, who's still trying to make his way, Steve, into the round of 8, just like he did here at Charlotte Motor Speedway at the Roval a year ago.
Yeah, and listen, we're 29 laps to go. We expect green flag pit stops, and we have seen it both in the truck and the Xfinity Series race. Late cautions, decisions to pit, overtime finishes, and a big change in position. Not as much for the lead, but back in the pack. So if you're this 45 car, Marty, you just have to stay in touch. Stay inside that top 10. A late yellow could change the fortune of the whole day.
Boy, Steve, Billy Scott's doing all he can to keep his driver in the game. Right now, you see it left-hand side of your screen, minus 14. And if you are a Tyler Reddick fan or a 2311 Racing fan, Reddick came on the radio just a moment ago and said, keep going the direction you went on that last stop. We are clearly better. Reddick has driven up into the top 10 here, sitting in 8th right now. So he's pretty happy with the race car, but he's got a long gap to make up to Kyle Larson, now almost 24 seconds behind.
Like Reddick's got to have some things go his way, some cautions fall, try to get some track position. We talked about how badly Larson and Bell want to beat SVG. Well, we also talked about how good SVG is, and you see how much gap that he has put on Christopher Bell already, and he is about a half a second a lap faster than Kyle Larson over the last few laps. And I really feel like the best way to beat SVG is to get in a situation where you pit as many times as you can. Keep fresh tires on the car, go as fast as you can, because his strength is on old tires. He always finds a way to find some pace on older tires. And right there, that was a second faster than Kyle Larson. 1 second in racing, that is an unbelievable amount of speed that he has over Larson.
What I will say, though, is we have yet to see the 88 have to run someone down. It was last year at Watkins Glen, and Chris Buescher beat him. In a head-to-head battle in the last couple laps, he forced the 88 into a mistake. So to your point, Jeff, right? Don't let the 88 get in front and cruise on old tires, make him try to make a mistake. We haven't seen many, but the best chance of a mistake is asking him to push 45 on pit road, Marty.
Yeah, Steve, I tell you what, you got to wonder if Billy Scott's thinking, hey, we're doing this in this last stop of the race here with 27 to go, or they might push it and do 2 stops to the end. Got to try something different. To Jeff's point, they need something to fall their way. Fresh Goodyear tires going on the 45. Again, he's really happy with the handling of it. We'll see if it's one more stop to the end or none, and that's it for the day for Tyler Reddick.
Keep in mind the 2 races thus far this weekend here on the Roval, with the Truck Series race, a crazy end, and last night with the Xfinity Series, also crazy end to that race. So this thing is far from done, and Reddick and the 2311 camp just have to keep on digging. There's still 27 laps to go.
About 8 or 9 laps, I imagine, until we see the 5, the 88, and the 20 come to pit road, if they kind of leapfrog on the same cycle they've been having. Parker, is that what you're hearing out of Larson, about 8 or 9 more?
They haven't quite given an update on that, but more so what Jeff just pointed out about the speed of that 88. It's been incredible to listen to the amount of info they've been giving Kyle Larson about what SVG is doing, including the most pertinent bit of info into the backstretch chicane. That's where he was gaining so much on Kyle Larson that he's got to move his braking point forward to match what the 88 is doing. But Kyle's been on the radio back to them and asking almost each lap what they're seeing that SVG is doing so he can try and combat it.
So this is a great shot. Let's follow along with this, because we're going to be able to see what Parker just talked about. All weekend long and at most racetracks, the strength of the 88 is in the braking zones. We talked about it earlier in the race. So the 5 car and the 88 down the back straightaway, Larson can slow the car down. He can't slow it down like the 88 can and still make the corner. What SVG can do so well is he can, right here, get further into the braking zone but still make these corners. Look how smooth he is. But he makes up ground even though he is kind of overdriving the corner entry. And not only is there lap time in that, it is very difficult to defend him passing you when he can outbrake you. what can you do? If he's behind you, he simply drives into corner deeper, pulls alongside you, and takes the spot. That is what his strength is.
The age-old request or saying is be smooth and fast, and some say they can't, but that's what SVG does, and Christopher Bell is on pit road. 25 to go, Parker.
Right, Lane, he had just come on the radio and said, no rear grip, I need longevity. Then as he was through the banking in 3 and 4, Adam Stevens once again, a late call to bring him down pit road here to be the first of the leaders on the pit road in his tires, which could potentially be the final stop. Kim?
Yeah, and crew chief James Small for Chase Briscoe told me this morning their weakness this playoff has been inconsistency on pit road. So for what could be the final stop, they'll look for clean and smooth. Remember, they asked Chase to run top 10 to 12 for the rest of this stage. He pitted from the 7th. He'll look to regain track position and hopefully transfer.
The big problem for the 20 was a 10.8-second pit stop. You saw the trouble on the right side. That's probably a solid second or second and a half slower than you're looking for. Bottom of the screen, you see James Small. That's the crew chief for the 19 of Briscoe. So let's just take a look. Something on the right rear, it looked like. Right side up, right front off, right front on. Oh, man, I'm going to tell you, they didn't come back and jack the right rear up. I'm questioning if that right rear stays tight on the 20. It looked like he was still tightening it up on the way down. We hope it is. We're not trying to wish bad luck on the 20, but we have seen that's how wheels are left loose, is the car gets dropped. So if we, think about that, the jack man even knew it was close. He checked up and looked. They thought about coming back in. They chose not to, so we'll have to just keep an eye and listen in on the radios of the 20 to see if that tire stays. Now at the front, the 88 has reeled the 5 in. About a half a second to a second a lap. And Jeff, to your point, I just don't know how you defend somebody who's so much better in the braking zones.
Yeah, it's so difficult. Larson's doing all he can. But see, corner exit.
Yeah.
Corner entry, the corner exit is just, he's just simply faster. And everybody wants to know why. There's lots of theories about it. I'm going to tell you, one of the things that is just plain and simple fact, he has more experience and more time doing this than everybody else. And when you take a world-class driver and you couple that with experience, he is going to be hard to beat.
Tail of the trail. He's exquisite with trail braking. And he's so good. Here he comes. Van Gisbergen closing in on Kyle Larson, the defending race winner here at the Bank of America ROVAL 400.
See, he gained on entry, but didn't really lose anything everywhere else. I mean, that is just such an advantage. Let's see if he actually gets to the 5 car here. I don't think it's a real safe place to pass this time of the race. There's probably no need to try to make this pass here.
I think when you're better like that, you can be more patient.
Yes.
You have 24 laps. This is really, I think, we're 88. So he's fast. We talk about that. But what gets overlooked is his racecraft. So many races in these full-bodied style cars down in Australia Diff that you've covered, and you've seen that they run like this, nose to tail, for so many laps that he's so comfortable in proximity.
I think right here, climbing the hill, going to make a right-hander, and then to the 180-degree corner. Watch what the 88 does here. I have a feeling that the pass is coming.
Meanwhile, on board bottom box, Joey Logano.
There he is, just simply outbreaks the 5 car and makes it look easy.
Little tap from Larson, exiting turn 7. Here's Christopher Bell.
With Bell's coming to pit road earlier, he's run a couple laps so much faster that I assume he's going to easily be the leader of this race. We're going to see if that's the case when this all cycles around. Remember, the leaders still need to pit. Logano on pit road. That's a story because of the battle between the 1 of Chastain. Marty.
The 22 kind of in no man's land here, Steve, with 23 to go. Paul Wolfe said if you can make it live for 4 or 5 more laps, I would love that. Logano said, my stuff is gone. I'm literally just hanging on. He said, we have 2 sets. If you want to make that call, we can 2-stop it in these 22 laps left in the race. 23, he said, you make the call. Paul Wolfe said, come to pit road, Parker.
Right, Marty, and for the 20, Christopher Bell was just told to go hard. They are going to pit again in this stage, so seeing if this works out for them. Basically a 3-stop since the last caution here for the 20 of Christopher Bell, so he's going as hard as he can right now, knowing they'll stop again.
All right, we'll have to see if that works out, if they can make up enough time to add an extra pit stop. SVG and Larson continue to just run away at the front of the pack, about 23 seconds back to third. Now we see Chastain on pit road countering the pit stop of the 22. Kim.
Yeah, and as soon as Joey committed to pit road, crew chief Phil Surgeon got on the radio and said, Silverado, Silverado. Apparently in a directive for Ross Chastain, brought him down pit road, 4 fresh Goodyear tires to finish out.
22 laps to go here at the ROVAL. Everybody's throwing everything they've got at it. Can they catch SVG? Shadows growing longer here at Charlotte Motor Speedway as the NASCAR playoffs continue on USA with the Bank of America ROVAL 400. And while we were away, not only did Kyle Larson pit, and these fans on the Bank of America fan cam saw that, but they will have heard that this man here, Ross Chastain, has been handed a penalty.
He is serving his penalty right now. This is a massive mistake. He was 3 to 4 points.
I put it in the wrong
gear. So watch him as he leaves his pit stall. Watch how fast he's going, but watch the right front tire. He recognizes that he's going too fast, tries to slow down to get it below pit road speed. Watch. He put it in gear, and then he pulled it back to get it in the correct gear. And that is just 2 mistakes on pit road by the driver. One, he overshot pit exit, and on this one, he just was speeding in the wrong gear. He knew it. Look, he hasn't even been told yet.
Yeah, he knows.
He has not even been told there's a penalty, but he knew there was one coming.
Well, now that he's served his penalty, he has blended on the racetrack right on the rear bumper of, well, maybe not right on the rear bumper, but just behind Joey Logano. And unfortunately, so you see the yellow car up ahead. That's who he has to catch. But let's remind everybody, after the stages, Ross Chastain has to outrun Joey Logano by 4 positions. So he has 19 laps to find 4 positions as we see Brad Keselowski somewhere off track. Parker, what's up with the 6?
He came on the radio and said no power for the 6 car.
That's a shame. Been a great day for RFK.
Yeah, so he's pulled off right there.
On the pit stop. I knew I was in trouble because it wouldn't shift right after that. But
At one point, the 3 RFK cars were in the top 7. It was a really good day from the Ford team. So back to the clawing his way back story for Ross Chastain. He's done it once, he's got to do it again. But he's only got 19 laps left.
The leader of 88 of SVG has now came to pit road. Remember, the 5 of Larson has pitted. We showed that he blended out in front of the 20. So now the 88 coming for his last set of tires, we presume. Marty, a little trouble with the 3 getting in. Clean in the box. We'll see where he blends.
Yeah, had to check it up there going around Austin Dillon. They lost some time to the 5 last time as the 5 goes through the front stretch chicane. They were crazy fast on the long run. It was SVG's call to run a little bit longer as Larson goes past the exit of pit road. And he said, I want to split it up into even stages or even lap runs at the very end. Stephen Doran said that. So 2 even 18 lap runs for SVG to the end.
Now you see the work ahead. The 5 and the 20 have gone by. The math works out. He was basically 24 seconds ahead. You lose 25 seconds pitting. He comes out 1 second behind. He has the fresher tires just by a lap or 2, and he proved on the last run that in 18 laps, he ran them all down, but very close getting on pit road, Jeff, with the 3.
You see Austin Dillon leaving the pits, and SVG heads up, just checking up, letting Austin get out. Cost him about a second. Would have been a lot worse.
So we have 2 real battles. We have a battle for the win between the 5, the 20, and the 88. I'll throw Buescher in the mix too, back there in 4th. And the other big battle is Ross Chastain and Joey Logano after a speeding penalty. You see on the bottom of the pylon, right? Chastain running 20th, Logano 18th. So Chastain has to beat Logano by 4 if he wants to advance on points and points alone with 18 laps to go.
Everything that this guy did in the second stage to claw his way back, get good stage points, get the advantage or get even with Joey Logano and give himself a shot. And now he sees the guy immediately ahead, but ahead and passing him, like Steve said, is not enough. He's got to get by and clear out in these final 17 laps. Ahead up the road is Bubba Wallace, Ricky Stenhouse, Alex Bowman. He's got to get past those drivers as well.
I think the advantage, though, is that he does have newer tires than some of the people in front of him. And that could be an advantage for this one car.
And there's a few cars that are going to pit, and as crazy as it sounds, I think they're going to blend right around these 2.
Yes.
So do they blend in front or behind? Like there's some points that are going to be dropped in like little Easter eggs. I just don't know who's going to find them.
This is far from over. Far from over. And the defending race winner, who's searching for a victory for the first time in some 19 races, his home is literally a stone's throw away from Charlotte Motor Speedway. There's Hendrick Motorsports headquarters, and just peeking over the trees is where we are. You saw that move in non-stop. Shane van Gisbergen getting by Christopher Bell when Christopher locked up, and now he's got his sight set on the 5. Left-hand side of your screen of Kyle Larson. Can Larson go back-to-back here at the ROVAL? Final 15 laps. Meanwhile, Ross Chastain buried in the pack and desperately trying to claw his way forward. He is 6 points below the cut line, and Joey Logano is 6 to the good. Every position counts.
And far from over. I think there's some pit stops expected out of this group of cars. There's multiple different strategies for the 5 of Larson and the 88 of SVG. I believe they're done pitting is the goal. The 88's long run speed, Jeff, is just so good. You pointed it out under braking and tire life.
He does such a good job of saving his tires, but still finding a way to make pace. There's an art to that.
Like going fast and not using any fuel. This is going fast and not using any tire.
We were talking about it during the break, and you mentioned, hey, Denny Hamlin does it. We see him doing it at Martinsville and Richmond and places like that.
Here we go. Here we go. Turn 7, little contact, if any. Van Gisbergen's trying to squeeze. There was definite contact there. You know how much these guys want the win simply by that behavior.
Larson's just said, it's not going to be easy for you, but I think it is right here.
Deep on the brakes, into the backstretch chicane, and more contact between Van Gisbergen and Larson.
Wow.
Larson's not having it. This thing's not over. Or is it, as SVG now exits?
Well, it's brought the 20 right back into it. Look at that yellow number 20. He has some momentum. Will he try to attack the 5 into the front stretch chicane?
Larson's super aggressive right here.
Yep, he's not taking this contact lightly.
Oh my
I don't think he liked the late move into the hairpin. I think the 88's late move into the hairpin frustrated the 5, and the 5 is showing his frustration by absolutely battling back.
And here comes Christopher Bell. Watch the black and yellow DeWalt Camry. He's lining up for a shot as well. Whoa. And just zips his way through.
All right, so the 88 got out in the tire marbles on the outside of the racetrack that built up by the wall. That was the lack of pace. And also SVG, he doesn't want this contact. He has the fastest car and 13 laps to go. So he is like, hey, if you're gonna do that, I'm gonna just give you your space, take my time, come back at you. But Larson clearly has sent the message.
Inside move at the hairpin, as was the case several laps ago. So Van Gisbergen back to second. But let's have a look at this, at these guys roughing each other up.
I think it's just a really late dive. I think the 5 is turning in like he's going to the bottom. The 88 dives in, and he's barely there. He's on the inside, but only by a foot. And that's why I think Larson turns left and says, man, we've worked together all day long, and you're going to dive bomb me with 14 to go and get into my left rear. And then the pushing and the shoving and the disagreeing continues. An amazing drive by both guys.
Yeah, so watch this. Larson just bangs into him, and then there just stands in the gas and pushes SVG out of the way. Todd Dillon saying, I'm going to get away from this wreck. Gets by both of them. So what does SVG do when he gets to him? That's the question. He knows now that Larson is willing to do whatever. So how does SVG handle this? Does he just move Larson out of the way? Or does he try to pass him like he just did and it didn't work?
I think, to your point, now SVG knows that he's kind of, you know, angered the swarm of bees in the 5 car. The driver of the 5 is upset, so he wants to set him up, and this is what you're talking about right here. The 88 just gets wide, gets on all that loose tire debris, and once that gets on his tires, I mean, look at it. That's going to be a problem.
And also, while all this is going on, the 20 car just pitted, so he is playing a different strategy to these guys.
I think it was clear to him that he didn't have enough car to race these guys heads up.
See, now that time SVG did not dive on him.
That's right.
But look at this. I mean, this is where he is going to easily get alongside Larson. And I think this time SVG just takes the spot.
There we go.
And Larson gives it to him.
As clinically as that. Maybe a little touch on the way through, another little reminder that I wasn't too happy about that, but then won't have another say at this stage.
I loved everything that happened there. Larson was like, look, I know you're faster and you dare dive bomb me, push, shove, beat, bang, and then shove you out of the way on the front stretch. Went back, calmed down, ran him down, and then put a clean pass on him, and Larson's like, okay, if you're gonna pass me clean, I'm gonna let you go.
And while all that action was going on, the one car of Ross Chastain has gotten by Joey Logano. This is just the last lap. Here he goes underneath him, easily makes this pass. Now Chastain.
This is going to be a nail biter between the 1 and the 22 all the way to the finish.
For sure.
Because with 11 laps to go, the question is, does the 1 and the 22 plan on staying on the racetrack? The 1 is absolutely faster. I just don't know if there's positions available. And with that said, does the 22, does Paul Wolfe dare pull his driver out of a transfer position to come to pit road again?
Pit. Ready?
There you have it. There's
Oh,
the
he
answer.
does. Oh, that is just such a gutsy call, because if we watch the points as he pits, Logano is at +2 on your bottom left. Check this out right here. +2. Well, as Chastain stays on the racetrack and cars continue to go by, now it's 0. Now it's +2 for Chastain. It's going to continue to fall. +3. Marty, the 22 in front of you for their last pit stop.
Paul Wolfe, always a master strategist. We'll see if this plays out or not. Remember when they pitted just a moment ago, we mentioned this was in the playbook to stop one more time today, and this could be the decision of whether or not they make it to the round of 8 or not. Clean pit stop by this championship pit crew. These are 1.5 lap scuffs, Steve. Let's see if the 1 answers the call or they stay on the track.
Steve, you were one of the very best on the pit box about these strategy calls. What tools and how did he make that decision?
I believe that Paul Wolfe feels that we're either going to get a yellow or there's enough tire life that he can run the 1 back down with 10 laps to go. You should be able to make up 25 or 30 seconds pretty easy. If I'm the 1, though, I just don't think I can pit from a transfer position, Kim. I'm going to have to wait to see how it plays out. What are you hearing?
Yeah, they're kind of waiting too. No direction to Chastain in terms of whether or not they would pit. They do have a fresh set of tires if they did elect to bring him down. Right now, keeping him on the racetrack. And it has actually been radio silence on the 1 radio since Ross's second mistake of the day. So just really focusing forward on the final 10 laps of this race.
When Ross Chastain sat down with us before the playoffs began, he said last year was brutal, missing out. I was sad, and then I turned that sadness into anger and then into motivation. He said, I have to get through this year, being in the playoffs and go further and deeper. Is today the day that he stays in the playoffs, or is today the day that he gets bounced out of the playoffs? It's all to play for in the final 10 laps.
Logano not happy.
The run to home, the race to home, to not only win this Bank of America ROVAL 400, but to see who makes the round of 8. The WeatherTech Chevy, Shane Van Gisbergen, Trackhouse Racing with a 21-second lead over Christopher Bell. That's the state of play at the front, but the other focus is the one of Ross Chastain versus Joey Logano for the 8th and final position.
Joey Logano in 23rd with fresher tires, trying to run Chastain down in 13th. Remember, Chastain has to beat him by 4 to advance. Logano trying to shorten that gap. On the top, SVG. The 21-second gap is not enough. If the 88 pits, he will come out 4 or 5 seconds behind Bell. That is the problem for the 88. Marty, what are you hearing?
To add another twist to this, Shane Van Gisbergen told Stephen Dorn a few laps ago, I feel like the right rear is coming apart on our car. It feels very weird, especially through the bank corners in the oval. They asked him to manage it as best he could, but right now SVG trying to hang on. They also asked him when Larson did it a moment ago, he said, should we cover? He said no, because Christopher Bell would be way ahead of us. He's already made the other stop, Kim.
Well, Marty, a couple laps ago with 9 to go, crew chief Phil Surgeon finally got on the radio and painted a picture for his driver, Ross Chastain, on what happened with the 22 pitting, where they're running versus where the one is running, what the point situation was, and he said 9 to go. Just last lap, Ross confirmed, so we're staying out. And they said yes, so with 7 to go, we do not expect Chastain to come down pit road for those fresh sticker tires, Marty.
8 points stand between the reigning defending champion, Joey Logano, and making it to the round of 8. He is very frustrated with lap traffic. They do have speed in these little bit fresher tires than Ross Chastain has, but he also knows he has 8 positions to make up if he's going to make it to the round of 8.
Well, right now, Ross Chastain in 13th. The question is, how many guys behind Chastain can catch him and pass him? Many behind him have better tires. Here's Chastain right here. Josh Berry has 1 lap newer tires, but now Reddick a lot newer tires, Briscoe newer tires, Gibbs newer tires. All those guys are coming to get Chastain.
The question is, can Logano move forward? Because he just got passed by Gilliland. You know, it's like 2 road trips. The old algebra assignment, if you leave on a train wanting 1 speed and the other train's running this speed, who gets there first? That's basically what we're going to see right here between new and old tires.
That was a move for position 2. Larson on Buscher.
Well, here you go. I mean, this is going to be a stressful 6 laps. You see the cars in front of Logano. The 8 car, he's a lap down. Gilliland just passed Logano, right? So no position on the 8 car.
Keep in mind the alliance between Wood Brothers and Team Penske. So Josh Berry here to get Ross Chastain helps his sort of teammate Joey Logano.
Yeah, Berry has better tires, right? And so do the cars behind Chastain. So Chastain wants to race hard here, but it's about lap time. It's not necessarily about position with Berry. It is about making the best lap time you can for the next 6 laps.
But I think you have to defend, because if you just let him go, you're just giving up points.
Yeah, but he was beside him. He already gave the spot up.
Yeah.
Like Berry already had the spot. Just wasn't a good time. Here comes Gibbs. He's on newer tires.
And every position is going to be a shift in points.
Every spot counts. Every position counts.
The problem is Logano actually lost the spot as well.
And once this 19 car of Briscoe gets by Chastain, there's not many cars behind him. Hamlin is behind him. Denny Hamlin has 92 laps on tires. Pitted on lap 92. Chastain 89. So not a massive difference in tires.
Jeff, this brings the gap down to 5 points now.
Look at the gap. There's the 11 and the 1. It's the entire back straightaway. Here comes the 11.
So now it's basically, in my mind, not if the 1 can lose, but can the 22 gain. I think the 1 has lost all we expect him to lose, Jeff. That's kind of what we're thinking with the gap. Maybe Gibbs can get there with a faster lap time, but for me, it's all now offense for the 22. Can Logano pass anyone in front of him? And I just haven't seen the speed out of anybody.
That's a great point. He's got Gilliland ahead of him. Then he's got Justin Haley. Then he's got Bubba Wallace. There they are.
There's a great shot right
Way
here.
better in the 42, 48, 47, and 11. That would be enough to get you in.
They're not just calling out positions, they're calling out car numbers.
Yeah.
So what he said? He said 42. All right, so Nemechek's up there a little bit. He's the next car in line, that black and pink car, the 42. So they said they're better than him.
Much older tires than the 42 car.
Not Gilliland, the next car, but then Wallace and the 48. I'm not sure I see the speed on the 48. I think that's going to be a hard pass.
Out by 4 here
Wallace
at the
has
moment.
much better tires.
Time is running out, though. 3.5 laps to go, Marty.
He only needs 4 spots. Coleman Presley giving constant updates. They've told him the 11 is the target, but remember, they own the tiebreaker over Ross Chastain. Here is 1 position for Joey Logano. He needs 3 more if he's going to make it a tie and win it on the tiebreaker.
Yeah, the next position for Logano, though, is a long way ahead.
Yeah, because that yellow tar of Gilliland, I don't think is an opportunity. He has fresh tires, so you got to get in front of him. This is going to be a nail biter right to the end.
Bubba Wallace has fresher tires. Bowman has a little bit older tire, but Bowman is 4 or 5 seconds ahead of the 22.
Ross Chastain has only made it to the round of 8 once before. Can it be his second appearance despite 2 hiccups, significant hiccups on pit road today?
Chastain has Denny Hamlin behind him. He's 4 seconds behind him, but he is certainly faster on newer tires.
I think Chastain could lose another spot. I thought he was safe. I'm starting to take that back. These new tires, the closing rate today is just so gigantic. I'm not sure if Chastain can hold him off.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who is behind Hamlin, he also has newer tires than the one of Chastain.
Well, the defender, the best defender in the series is Logano. The second best is Chastain. That defense is going to be on absolute alert right here. He's going to have to block for all his might when Hamlin gets there.
The
I don't think it's
of Custer.
Yeah.
He has the same tires, essentially.
And SVG's just cruising along 17 seconds ahead, hoping that right rear tire issue we mentioned on the radio doesn't turn into anything more. Every year here, it comes down to 2 spots, 3 spots.
This point system, 1 position matters, 1 stage point matters. Remember the stage points that Ross Chastain got earlier in the race. Currently, that is the difference.
So, top box, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, in case that right rear doesn't hang on for SVG, this would be for the race win. However, there is a whopping 17 seconds from where they are to where Shane is. Eric Jones pulls off the track. By the way, quick mention, Eric Jones, and you see the pink window nets, the window of hope, phenomenal charitable campaign that continues to support breast cancer awareness and research with the Eric Jones Foundation. Great work once again.
Though 22 is not going forward. The gap is too big. It's out the back of the 1. The battle to advance is very clear to me now. Ross Chastain has got to hold off brand new tires or newer tires on both Hamlin and Wallace. And remember how dirty it is offline, right? If you get offline, you get stuff in your tires, you can give up 5-10 seconds right away. So for Ross Chastain, he needs to just somehow keep Hamlin behind him. And he has to decide, do you fight Hamlin and have a chance of cutting a tire, or you dare give up 1 spot or even 2 to Wallace?
Those cars behind him are only 2.5 seconds behind at this point with a lap and a half to go. I'm sorry, a full 2 laps to go. Will they get to him? They're going to get to him for sure. Will they be able to pass him?
Yeah, because the 88's so far out that these guys still have to run a lot, right?
Yeah.
They're just now coming to 2 to go.
And even if those 2 cars get by him, really the question is, can Gilliland get by him also? Those 2 cars getting by him, he's still okay. Look at this battle here.
Chastain just crosses the line now, so 2 full laps to go for Ross Chastain. Kyle Larson on the inside of Christopher Bell.
And right there, Chastain loses a point, down to 2. Remember, the tiebreaker goes to Logano. So if it's 0, that is a Logano advancement. You have a lap and a half for the 1 car to try to hold off Hamlin. The 88 has already taken the white flag. He's so far ahead. So a caution would end it. We are on the white flag lap. A caution would end the race.
Here's the 11 car. The 11 car is to the 1. He is going to get to him. There's the 34.
Here comes Gilliland.
Getting the 11.
Just 2 points in it.
The 1's going to have to defend for all he's worth. I'm sure he understands the task at hand. He's now on his final lap, the 88 on the top of the screen.
No rear grip of the 1 car at all leaving that corner.
He was stuck exiting turn 7. So now that brings it to a point above and a point below. For Ross Chastain to the good, Joey Logano a point down.
Well, remember, Chastain still has an
by 1.
Oh, smoke out of the 88.
By 1.
Van Gisbergen, top box. There was smoke from the 88. It was going sideways a little. He's headed down to the backstretch chicane on the final lap. Can he nurse it home? He's got 18 seconds to just crawl around with Kyle Larson in pursuit.
And Chastain now is taking 1 to go.
I don't know how Chastain can hold these guys behind him. I don't think there's any way.
Unbelievable. Thank you. Thank you so much.
In a very humble approach, Shane Van Gisbergen answered all the questions and said, I'm not necessarily going to be granted a win in this race, but he's got the win. SVG wins the ROVAL.
Oh, yeah, boys.
The race is on to make it to the 8, to the round of 8. The chasers are coming to take points away from Ross Chastain. Can Chastain defend like he has never defended before?
Right on you.
The 1 and the 11 heading into turn 7. The 88 had such a big lead. These guys have to finish. A big slide out of Chastain. There's the position. Can he somehow get back by the 11? That eliminates the 1.
Here comes the 48 with a lot of momentum.
Remember, if it's in a tied situation, Joey Logano gets it on the tiebreaker. And that has put Ross Chastain in a 0-0 tie with Joey Logano. That means the 22 would go through. AJ Allmendinger has just come across the finish line in reverse. A crazy finish for the 16. And in a wild swing on the last lap, things are going in Joey Logano's favor. Incredible. Whoa! Oh, and around goes Ross Chastain. And Denny Hamlin, and Chastain wants to come across the line in reverse, just like AJ did. And he has. My goodness. We promised you it was going to be a wild finish. Did you ever think you would see that? Logano makes it to the tune of 4 points. And Ross Chastain literally gave it everything.
All right, so here's Chastain. Has to have this spot. I mean, he is in this corner deep. Contact with the 1, but there's no way he could maintain control. Throws it in reverse, trying to get to the line, but all those cars got by him.
2 cars came across the line in reverse. AJ Allmendinger.
No, Ross and Joey. Joey gets the tiebreaker.
And Ross Chastain.
Oh, they just crashed off of 17.
Just wrecked City to try to make it, and
oh boy.
Chastain is not going to sleep tonight. 2 problems on pit road. Without that, he probably is going to be in the next round of the playoff.
That's absolutely right. We could talk about the decisions to pit and all of the things, but it ended up being an execution issue for the 1, and absolutely no execution issue for this 88.
That's 5 road course wins in succession. Shane Van Gisbergen, his first top 10 last weekend at Kansas, and backs it up with a victory at the ROVAL. And mixed emotions in the bottom boxes. Logano scrapes through and stands a chance to defend what could have been for Ross Chastain And another win for Shane van Gisbergen.
What did we just witness at the ROVAL? A crazy finish. SVG with 5 straight road course wins. As you mentioned, Lee, he'll get a shot to tie the all-time record that Jeff Gordon holds in 2026 with a possible 6 straight. I know that race didn't disappoint the fans here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And as always, when SVG wins a race, he'll autograph the rugby ball and send it into the stands. To these fans. Let's see how the kick goes today for SVG. Wow, 5th in a row, Shane. But you said, hey, I've got a right rear tire issue. Was that the smoke we saw in that final lap?
Yeah, it just started getting hot and sliding around, but what an awesome race. Kyle and Christopher driving really good and got a little rough, but man, the battle was awesome. And WeatherTech Chevy, I lost it a little bit at the start of stage 3 and whatever they did for the rest of the race. Unbelievable, really enjoyed that, and it was a long time waiting, hoping the yellow wasn't gonna come out.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that rough racing with the 5 and the 20. I mean, you had to get elbows out, didn't you? Because you said, hey, at Bristol, I didn't like it when the non-playoff guys raced me that way.
Yeah, like I gave him a little bump at 7 by accident, and he just slammed me, and that sort of set it off. But I'm all for it. It was fun, and I hope he's not too pissed off, but hope it was good to watch too.
1 win for Trackhouse Racing, but the other Trackhouse Racing driver out of the playoffs, Ross Chastain, is with Kim.
That's right, Marty, out by 4 points and 2 mistakes on the day by Ross, but 2 rebounds. Put yourself in a position in the closing laps where you had to have the drive of your life. Your spotter, Brandon McReynolds, said before the last lap, I need a perfect lap. You need a perfect lap. If you had that last lap back, what would you do differently?
Well, I'd restart the whole day, Kim. For our Busch Light Chevy, Trackhouse Racing, they expect so much more out of me. And to speed on pit road, I got to go back. I went off the end of pit road and didn't turn. Thought I had more room and just trying to get to the yellow line and just completely started the downfall there, and then came off out of the pit stall and double clicked up into 3rd, and just unforced errors, just terrible. So it's heartbreaking for almost 200 employees at Trackhouse, of our teammates, our ECR engines, everybody that makes this go around with Jockey and the Moose and Kubota. It's you know, Justin hired me to carry this one car and to drive it and to be the leader, and I just completely unraveled our day. We definitely had the speed on the last lap. Yeah, I missed turn 7. I downshifted the first, put the rear tires, and let the 11 by. So yeah, not acceptable. Like just completely, you know, just completely unacceptable.
Unacceptable. How do you kind of come to terms with the mistakes that were made today?
Well, knowing that no one else had a hand in it but me. The WISE program gave me everything I needed. GM, Chevrolet, Trackhouse. So I can go to bed knowing that they're building me to be the best I can be, but I've got to make those right decisions in those moments where I'm not on autopilot, but when I come out of the pit stall, I'm just getting to my lights, and I pulled twice. And when I went to the end of pit road, I didn't turn because I want to get to the end of the yellow line, and I needed to just turn the wheel. It's really simple. So, yeah, it's terrible to get to this level and not perform. It's when you watch and you learn and you study for half your life to get here and to fail is a terrible feeling right now. And I will wake up tomorrow and go right back to work. That doesn't make it any better for our partners and for all of my teammates that are really upset with me right now. I know the 11's mad. I'm sure I would be too. He got by me clean and was giving me room, and he got by me clean, and I wiped him out. So just have to wake up tomorrow and go back to work, though.
Ross Chastain eliminated here at the ROVAL, Parker.
Right, and on the flip side of that, Joey Logano advances. So in that final 2 laps, did you realize how close it was between you and Ross Chastain?
Yeah, everyone was telling me how close it was going to be there, and gosh, what a... Man, fans are... Is that me? Is that who they're booing at? Oh well. Hey, we're still in. We're still alive, baby. We're still going. I'm so excited. Such a finish there, and yeah, I knew it was within a point there, and I knew we were going to be tied there at the end, and Ross was going to do whatever he had to do to make it happen. Just wasn't quite fast enough today with our car, but overall, man, it's the drama of the playoffs, right? If you want drama, the playoffs bring it every time. What an entertaining finish there, and to come down to, like I said, a tie there basically at the end before the wreck. So proud of Paul Wolf. Made some really hard calls today. 3-stop in the end there, kind of an audible there at the end. Just our fall off was a little bit too much. So making that call there at the end was ultimately what kept us there in the game with just a few left. So as a championship performance from the team. Wish I was a little faster, but overall, and I couldn't be more proud of the team, and we still got a shot.
Serious drama here at the ROVAL.
Serious drama, serious emotion. And all eyes on the round of 8. SVG wins. So close to decide the round of 8. Lots of drama and lots to talk about in the Progressive post-race show coming up. Don't go anywhere. We've got more drivers to hear from. Our Hall of Famer DJ Dale Jarrett's going to share his thoughts. Oh, wow. That's all you can say. What a day at the ROVAL. Ross Chastain. Complete honesty and ownership over a day that got away from him. And SVG got away from everybody else. 5th road course win on the year. We'll talk more about that. Post-race show coming up.
We are the ones at the top of the mountain, climbed all the way up and never looked down. If the road wasn't rough, we might not have found the blood and some guts and thousands of hours. We welcome you now to our arena. If you don't know right now, it's hard to beat us. You can tell by our demeanor how hard we leaning. You will remember when you see it in lights. We are the champions. We are the champions. We will fight through the pain. We'll be legends tonight. We are the champions. We are the champions.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.